Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a wonderful night tonight. We are joined with Sonny Puzikas, Lewis, and Josh of Students of Violence. So, how's everybody's night going tonight? Oh, did my audio cut out? Can you guys hear me? Uh-oh. 1 second. Uh-oh. Did it switch your guys' audio? Audio issues. Well, once we start, well, while they're getting that sorted out, guys, hope you're all having a wonderful night. We are going to be asking some questions and having a little bit of dialogue back and forth. We have reacted to some of Sonny Puzikas' videos in the past, so I think it's only fair to have them on, have a discussion about training, what's good, what's bad, so on and so forth, and, you know, some different perspective, let's say. And I think that is very fair and very kind for the you know, the sake of the 2A space, let's say.
Now I can hear it.
Are you guys on? Lewis, we got audio?
Yeah, I can't hear nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing?
You're cutting in and out on us, John. I don't know if you can hear us.
Let me put in the private chat. Can you check your audio output real fast? Because it might be me, you never know. That's right. That's right.
Lewis, I can hear you on the stream.
Yeah, I can hear.
I can't hear him, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let me.
I don't know why I didn't change anything.
Hello, hello. Is this thing on? Hello, hello. No, still not on. It. You know, we can hear both sides. We can hear both sides. I can hear them. Let me see real fast. Louis.
Focus. I'm just not getting anything from you.
Let me leave and come right back. Okay, I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Entertain the.
I can hear it as Sonny's.
Yeah, but it's from my phone.
Oh.
All right. Did that fix it?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what was going on. I left and came back. I didn't touch anything. All right. Well, sorry about that, gents. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on the show. We've had a little bit of a back and forth. We've reacted to some videos of your guys's in the past, and so I think it's only fair to get you guys on to have a dialogue. But before we get into that, first off, happy birthday, Sonny. 57 years old. If I'm not mistaken, happy birthday, sir. And I appreciate you giving up your time to come on here.
I appreciate you making me 1 year older than I am. I'm 56, but
56. Oh, sorry.
But
Trying
thank
to age
you.
you up.
Yeah, you're trying. I understand. I understand the reason. I'm just going to remove that microphone so my beauty comes through. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, how's everybody's night going?
Very
Great.
good.
Good,
Very
good. You guys had a training class today, which I think we'll talk about a little bit later. And you have some students that were actually in your class in the building, right? So we might have them come on for a moment or give some of their thoughts on the experience, who actually, paid, took time out of their day to go to these training classes and learn some of your guys', let's say, more novel techniques. But I thought what might be fun to start out with, because my guys are probably not as familiar with you as your guys are. So if you guys could quickly just give yourselves a couple minutes of introduction, what you guys have done, different training classes you've been a part of, different instructors, or whatever it might be that's relevant to the discussion tonight.
Go ahead. Start at your end, and we'll work
Okay,
this way.
let's start with the lightweight. Sonny Puzikas, 56 years old. Nothing special. A little bit of military service, a little bit of security protection related work. And for the past 20, close to 6 years, basically teaching as a matter of my hobby that also happens to pay bills. And other than that, just a father, a farmer, grow tomatoes on the good days here in East Texas, and every now and then listen to music and teach and interact with crazy people that decide to come and train with me. Watch things, listen to things, mostly don't react to things. And that's about it.
Fun stuff. Excellent. Appreciate you coming on, sir. Josh?
So really my training kind of started, I graduated peace officer training 2016, studied Homeland Security and terrorism for a couple years, started getting into like the tactical stuff, like pistols, rifles, medical, shotguns, got just over 2,000 hours of professional training, did a little bit of executive protection with Jay. He's the guy in the other video. Did some stuff like that, some disaster relief. Some of the other stuff like I'm kind of into kind of ties in with this is like weapons-based grappling, knife stuff, that kind of shit.
Cool. Excellent.
And then my name's Louis Karras. How did I get on this path? So I was a commercial fisherman for a little over a decade. I cut this finger off in 2011, and in the 5 months of rehab to be able to do this, I was like, maybe I should do something a little safer. So I put my degree to work, and I was managing a hotel just outside New York City for about 6 years. Both of those professions, like, help is not as close and as fast to respond as you need it. Like, something we like to say, like, you're the only person who's going to be at all of your emergencies. So, like, something Jay Gibson, Praelectus training, Trench didn't like his methodology, but something he likes to say is, like, close your eyes, picture, like, the ultimate first responder. Like, what do they have with them? What are their skills? Like, what can they do? And then take steps every day to become that person. So in my other careers, I knew that there was a need for training. And so I sought out training. I ended up down at Tactical Response, took my first class there. It was a 5-day class. Got home from that and realized that, like, if you really want to be good at this stuff, when, like, chips are in the middle of the table, like, you got to go deep. So I reprioritized life, bought an Airstream, moved down to Tennessee. I thought it was going to be a year off from, like, the corporate world I was living in, but somewhere along the lines, James kind of grabbed me, put me under his wing. And so I studied under Jaeger on how to teach people this kind of stuff and to be better protectors of those that are around them. And then that led me to meeting Sonny. I don't know how many classes I've taken from, like, if you name an instructor, like, I've trained with him. Like, I've sat on Ken Hackathorn's couch in his living room before going out to run drills on the range he has in his backyard. Um, tons and tons of training. Close with the guys over at Green Line Tactical, so I've done a bunch of night vision training and, you know, helicopter shooting and all the cool guy stuff that you can do. 4-man CQB, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Like, when you work for James Yeager, you get to take a lot of training for free. So I took full advantage of that. And the one dude who James always was like, you have to go train with him more. Any class you can take, was Sonny, because his views were so different than anything else out there. It was kind of there was a personal conversation I won't get into too much with James, but the essence of it was, if you want to avoid indoctrination of what's current Common Core stuff, go talk to Sonny. So then that led me to moving down to Texas. So I moved down here in August and have been training a bunch under Sonny. And the three of us were like, let's start a new podcast, a new YouTube channel where we can take our thoughts on things and break things down the way we see them, right? Because a lot of the breakdown videos are kind of all through the same, like, kind of narrowed focus, whether it's law enforcement or military. And, like, I'm a dude who wanted to be able to protect his family. That's why I train. So that's a totally different lens. Like, I'm not worried about my department being sued or anything like that. So long intro from this end of the table. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no problem. Appreciate it. Well, how about a bit of a lightning round questionnaire for you guys? So now this is a joke question, but the chat makes me ask this question to everybody. It's, how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast today?
We'll start from that side now. Of course, everybody got too used to Lewis's voice.
I love it, and I love on one of the streams.
By the way, Matt Pranka failed this question.
I was
just
so
you
about
know,
to
Matt
say
Pranka
that
failed this question
horribly. He said, "I'm not your target." Like, yeah, but if you were, but I know which gun to have. So
right?
we're in
Yeah.
agreement on
Hypotheticals might be difficult for some people.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I would say, hypothetically, if I did not have breakfast this morning, I might feel hungry.
Bam. Wow. All right. Already one up. Damn. Okay. Fine. I mean, that's the correct answer. So now, a more serious question. All right. How much do you all dry fire, or do you think dry fire is important?
So two kind of different things. Part of it is like a nitpick from something that James would talk about. I do both, but like dry fire and dry practice. So like dry fire is when you actually click the trigger. I do quite a bit of that. I'm big into revolvers. I still do like a lot of striker fire stuff, cert pistol, that kind of work. But then also dry practice, like dry manipulations. So he kind of had a nitpick there where it's like, you know, magazine changes, malfunction clearances, you know, drawing in and out of the holster kind of thing. Like that was its own thing there, but I do quite a bit of both.
Okay. And everybody thinks does anybody have a different opinion on whether or not it's important for the average person? Okay.
Yeah, it's important.
Now, more preferential, red dots on pistols, yes or no?
So is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
You start with Sonny.
No. I mean, okay, let me quantify that. Bedside pistol, yes. What's facing towards my penis? No.
Really? Okay. Just keeping it simple. No less failures. Is that the rationale for it?
No, I'm 56, and I understand as you get older, the eyesight and all that changes. It's just for what I do the amount of movement we do and changes in elevation and all the other little displacement things, I do find that red dot forces me to be more shooter, less fighter. It sucks me into it. I lose too much peripheral for what I teach, and I'm not any faster in that context with dots than I am with the irons on my pistol. So I try. I had red dots on my pistols actually from very early days of advent of red dots here in this country on the pistol. I still have the original slide from freaking Gabe Suarez. You know, he had his own company. Still have that upper. And Lewis is my witness. I try in the classes. I do have very different vision in my both eyes due to some previous injuries. So for my carry, everyday carry, I do prefer irons. My bedside, both short and long guns, yes, they do have optics.
Okay. Awesome. And do you think it's a bit of just a training, or do you think it's actually a biological impairment just with the different vision and the fact that you've trained so long on irons that, because I know like a lot of from the competition side of things, from the speed shooting side of things, right? Dots are a pretty objective advantage to a lot of those types of guys. And it is still an issue when people get sucked into their red dots. They're staring at that dot. They do lose that periphery, like you're saying. Do you think that's more of a training issue, or just something that I don't want to mess with that type of thing?
No, I actually do want to mess. I do want to make it to where it becomes my thing, because I have no question whatsoever. As a pure shooting, a red dot gives you a huge advantage. Huge advantage. There is no doubt about it. It's just the vantage point for what I do. Any of those advantages kind of become not so pronounced, but then the negatives that it brings into what I do kind of outweigh the benefits for the shooting portion that dots offer.
Sure.
I do carry it with a red dot, but I don't call it a red dot. I make the distinction of pistol optic, because I do not use a dot in the optic. I use the circle only reticle. Call it the donut of death. I've got a whole series of videos.
So you aim with the negative space inside of the dot.
Right. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like a ghost ring on your
Mhm.
the rear side of your AR, it's like a long distance ghost ring. So if I want to hit that camera, like my hands might be moving a little bit, but the camera lens right now is in the center of it. It also has some added benefits with the movement, where if you had, I wish I had a whiteboard, but I won't bore you guys with the donut, but go ahead, check out.
Okay.
There's a series of videos on the Tactical Response site. If you do run an optic, especially if it has that option, it's something worth trying. Nobody that I've shown it to who has shot over 250 rounds using that method has switched back to a dot only.
Do you think there's significant downsides to that method? So like just off the top of my head, I'm like, a 4-inch target at 30 yards. Is that easier or harder?
Easier.
You think it's easier? Okay.
Yep.
See, in my mind, I haven't tried it. Okay, full disclosure, I haven't tried it, but in my mind, I'm like, that seems to be intuitively incorrect.
It's the common, in theory, it's not going to be as accurate. But there's a video I did with John Dufresne, Kinetic Consulting. I don't know if you know him, or Mocha Bear on Instagram. They just deleted his YouTube channel, but
no, that's tragic.
Very, very accomplished shooter and instructor, and he had the same concern. Like as we were finishing shooting some, like long distance hostage shot or something like that, and I was like, "Well, that steel's about 40 yards away. Like just shoot it in the head." And he was like, "Oh wow, shit, this works." And it's great under night vision. Like it's cheat code. It's like playing Halo.
Interesting.
That sort of thing.
Well, I'm gonna have to give it a try, all right, because it sounds strange to me. So that means that I want to try it out, even if it doesn't particularly work for me. Now, follow-up question for everybody: for new people, for people who are new to shooting, what is the most important skill to train?
So I'm gonna cut. I know what Sonny's gonna say, and I definitely agree. So it's a little bit. It's kind of a skill thing, but it's more. It's more of a mindset. Like if you're talking like survival principles, like mindset, tactics, skills, gear. So being a good student. So that's going to be the big part of it. So the part of the reason why like a lot of cops in the military don't get a lot of good training partially is the institution, but it's also like how receptive the student can be to it. So I think the better you are as a student, the more you can get out of anything, like even a bad class. Like, you know, if so, you can glean some information out of something. I think it's not quite a skill. Like if you box me in, I'd probably say like trigger manipulation, something like that. But realistically, like everything will be a net positive as you become a better student.
Yeah, and if we're gonna stay in the lane of shooting, like my thoughts on that, I've got a brand new shooter on the range, like, and we're about to learn things. What Jaeger taught me was make them safe with a gun in their hand, get them to hit the target, everything else.
Fair enough.
I cannot answer. I cannot really add anything to that. I am not a shooting instructor. I don't teach shooting. I teach fighting. Unfortunately, sometimes it happens to be with a gun in the hand. So I'm very open with my students. If you want to become better at shooting, you need to go see different people than me. I mean, I can shoot. I can hit the target. That's not a problem. Not at the level that your crowd does. I don't pretend that I'm, nowhere near the shooting proficiency that most of you guys are in the competition realm and performance shooting realm. That is not my goal. That is not my focus. So I really cannot tell you if I were to start teaching someone how to shoot, even my son, when he was failing in some drills, he was 15 at that point running some drills and he's like not doing so well. I sent him off to the side with Lewis for 30 minutes. He came back and he was like in the top 3 of the class as far as scoring, because believe it or not, we sometimes do scoring on our targets too. It's very different, but we do use some of the metrics that you guys use.
Okay, interesting. Well, I appreciate those answers all around. So really what kind of set this conversation off is some of these, what to the rest of us seem to be unorthodox drills, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
so.
To
I
you,
pulled up
to
a
you
couple
guys,
of these.
they seem dangerous and or crazy and or you can be honest.
Well, so I want to go through them with you guys, actually, if you would humor me, and we can kind of explain what I'm seeing from the outside, do a cost benefit analysis, and then you guys can counterpoint or add whatever you feel like. So, for instance, on this first one, I pulled up 4 of these. These were just some of the ones that were floating around that I happened to find. So we have what looks like students walking, kind of behind each other. And then the other guy, he lifts his gun up as the other person's head kind of comes into the direct line of fire, right? As they're walking slowly, very controlled at a close distance around these barrels. So when I see something like this, to me, it does sketch me out a little bit because I don't know the competence level of the shooters that are in here. And they seem to be taking it very, very slow, which leads me to believe that they're less competent. That's kind of like my first intuition after it. And also having somebody who I may not know have a gun pointed at the back of my head doesn't make me feel all that comfortable, right? So for me, when I'm watching this looks strange. I don't understand what the benefit of it is, because from my perspective, I don't see any real training benefit. Like, I don't know what I'm practicing, because I can shoot and move and I can do that at a higher speed. I don't know necessarily what doing it very slow with another person like right next to me, like what does that skill translate to, or what's the possible goal of this exercise?
All right, so I guess I'll start with this, although it's not my exercise. This exercise is not crazy enough for me. I think it needs to be a little bit crazier. This is just to humor many viewers that I see here in the comments, and I'm assuming, John, I'm just asking you a question. We're leaving the comments out of the game here, right?
Yes, I pulled the comments off my screen because they were distracting to me, so I got rid of them.
Yeah, they are entertaining. I have to tell you, you have
Yeah,
some
my audience is known for being aggressive to anybody that's on the show.
They're
So
not
if you
aggressive.
see,
They're not
if you read
aggressive.
mean comments, there's a lot of mean comments, and so I
They're not
have them off
aggressive.
my screen.
They're funny, man. If they start losing competitions, they really have a job to be like a stand-up comedians. They're pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
So,
I'll tell them to quit their day job.
yeah, excellent. Excellent. So, all right. I think in the way you formulated your question, actually, I think partially it already gives you an answer. We're not looking at the same metrics. And the metrics that practical shooters, competition shooters, performance shooters are looking, and I'm going to use that word in your comment section, will blow the fuck up, which is fine. But this is discussion between us, so I'm going to kind of block it out and so forth. I think your metrics in the context of what we do are very, very limited. Your metrics are strictly performing the shot, hitting where it needs to be, doing it as fast as possible with as many bullets as needed or prescribed in specific drill or competition or whatnot. And it's very objective metric. Your metric is not a lie. Your metric is factual. Get it? Time. Again, I know in the comments is going to be, what is he, a fucking philosopher? Yes, part-time I'm a philosopher. So if someone wants to come study some philosophy, whether it's Jesus, Aristotle, or Seneca, by any means, I'm not cheap, but we can talk about it. So time. You guys measure time on the timer. Okay, I refer to that as a linear time, and it's a one-way time. It's objective. Okay. The time is relative and it's variable. You know the saying, you heard the saying that 1 hour in the company of the most beautiful lady seems like a minute, and 1 second of your finger of the hot stove, or well, you're not going to have reaction to that. But if I were, hypothetically speaking, to build a torture chamber on the model of Gulag camps, and you spend 60 minutes in my torture chamber, you would think that you've been there for 3 fucking years. So that's more like a relative time, and it's a perceptual time. I know, again, what the dude's going to say in comments. I'm really not going to bother with that. We're having a conversation here, and I appreciate the chance. So I think our metrics are not the same. And then there is something that is obscure. And to explain to you in the basic terms, it's best felt and experienced, but there is a difference between consequence and mistake. There is a difference between consequence and mistake. I know in some of your competitions you have targets that swing and move and you have to hit them. I know you have the white targets that are considered no-shoot targets. When one of your guys hits that white target, right, it's a piece of paper. If I replace that white piece of paper with your sister, I submit to you there is something that is very obscure has changed. And that
Depends how much I like my sister, right? I mean,
well,
I have a couple sisters, so depending on which one it is, you never know.
Okay, the one that you really like.
Okay, fine, fair.
Yeah. And, and to push it further into this, because I saw in some questions, they go like, would they do this drill with their kid or wife? I happen to like both my kids, all 3 of my kids and my wife, and I've done it both ways. I stood next to the target with my wife shooting at it, and vice versa. And, when the comment is made, well, what are they working on working so slowly? They're getting familiar with the feeling of very, very heavy consequence and understanding how their whole system reacts to it and what are the results if you're not in control of it. Calmness is a skill, John. Calmness is a skill. It's not some kind of feeling. It's not a fucking, your chosen identity for the day. I'm going to be calm. You can pretend you can do cosplay and all you want. You can lay on the couch and develop a perfect freestyle stroke. It's different when they throw you in the water. You're not going to become a swimmer on the couch. You're going to have a perfect stroke. You're not going to become swimmer in the water. And when the water changes, whether it's waves, whether it's temperature or whatnot, these variables cannot be experienced in isolated environment. I have pointed guns at people. I had guns pointed at me, and not just in training. And not, again, I don't care what they say in the comments or elsewhere. I'm too old to care about this shit. There is something intangible inside of you when you have a gun pointed at you or in your direction. And there's something intangible but very real when you do that to another person. Not having familiarity with it and just thinking that because I put the paper and I put the picture on it of the person, it's the same as aiming at the person, that's very much misinformed opinion. Because you can practice all you want catching the rope and going like, I'm practicing to catch a living, rattlesnake. I submit to you something in your body, in your heart, in your mind, in your breathing will change when instead of the rope here on the table, it's a living rattlesnake. And now it's your job with your bare hands to grab it before it does something to you. Would you agree with that?
That there's a difference psychologically? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, though, so what you're building the case for, it's what, a inoculation to stress, you're adding in some additional variables, or you're actually practicing with what's the right word for it? I'm searching for a term here.
Okay,
stakes.
so you're looking
you're adding stakes, right?
Okay,
So it's essentially like what you're trying to add a fear factor, a adrenaline.
No,
you're trying to make it more real. Is that correct?
It's not a fear factor. It's not about making it more real. You cannot make it real. People say you're going to fight like you trained for once. It's a lie. You cannot duplicate the actual fight.
Right.
Now, can you take certain metrics and get it closer within relatively well-controlled and reasonably safe parameters? I believe you can. A lot of people have this misconception that this is brand new shooters that bought their first gun yesterday and we're putting them into this. No, a lot of these guys been doing and handling firearms and doing whatever other violence-related training, some of them for years, some of them shorter, some of them for decades. Okay? And we had guys that been shooting for 20 years and they were literally shaking because one small factor changed. They can shoot very, very quickly, switching past that white paper. They were not willing to simply do that when it was not a white paper, but me, a white guy. I'm mostly white, above the waist. Yeah. So, this is not a fear inoculation. This is getting familiar with your reaction to where consequences are real and not imaginary. This has nothing to do with like, oh, I wanted to scare him, I wanted to increase the stress. I cannot duplicate the stress of real violence without it being real violence. At that point, training is unsafe. At that point, many students are not coming back and so forth and so forth. These are not, these are people that have jobs, they're not sponsored, they have families, they have kids to feed, on and on and on. And some of them don't want to go all the way, into dark places. They just want to become a little bit more competent. They don't want to lose that precious second or lose their shit or get into tunnel vision when shit became real. And we give them a relatively safe way to experience that on the range. Those parameters and those drills are pretty strict. What's missing out of context, explanations are quite prolonged. People repeat all the instructions in every step, what to do, what not to do. If this happens, this is what happens. On cameras, you don't see, but in the drills that we run, that a little bit riskier than what you see in this video, with each shooter, when he runs the drill, there's a controller, which is another instructor running right next to him, in case something were to go wrong. Now, I have a simple question for you, John, if you can answer it for me. Mm-hmm. How many people you aware of that have hurt themselves holstering their pistols, taking their pistols out of their holsters? And how many people, and I know what's going to happen in the comments, how many people you know that have been shot in a designed downrange drill, besides the person that I've injured 13 years, 1 month, and 2 days ago?
Personally, I don't have anyone in my life that has ever injured themselves or someone else while holstering a firearm.
Do you know?
I've heard of people doing it, and I've seen people doing that as well. As far as
Does it ever?
downrange,
Have you ever heard of it happening at a competition?
I've seen videos of people reholstering at a competition and shooting themselves.
So
Yeah.
even at a place where guns are predominantly unloaded, people are shooting themselves. Yet in 26 years that drills like that have been run at Tactical Response, and in all of Sonny's time training, and I don't know when Ken Hackathorn started running the snake drill, but my guess would be somewhere around 40 to 50 years ago. No students ever been shot in a downrange drill.
Right, but I think we're talking about very different numbers. For instance, a year we probably have 300,000 shooters at a competition, and if four of them shoot themselves.
So if we extrapolate and we adjust for population and multiply it out, multiply the 0 that have been shot doing downrange drills by whatever number you need to equal that number of students to people in competitions. And it's still safer to do a drill like this than it is to go to a competition.
Well, let's talk about safety. So I want to keep on that thread. So I think there's a bit of a category error there, because one of these is a classroom setting. So let's say if I'm in a class with you guys, there are 3 instructors there guiding me on what to do. When you show up to a competition, you just, like, the ROs don't care about you. They don't know you. You're just some random guy who paid $20 to show up. Whereas if you pay $400 or $500 for a class and you have hands-on instruction, very different environments. So I'm not even sure if they're totally analogous to one another, right? Because if I have one of you guys right next to me guiding me through the drill, right, that's a much more controlled environment than random number 4 stepped onto the line and he's going to accidentally shoot himself because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, the ratio of RSO to people with loaded guns on the range at a competition is a 1-to-1 ratio. So,
right, but they're not giving instruction or anything else like that. Well, yes, it is a very controlled environment, but they're just standing there, right? They're not actually teaching you or instructing you. They don't know you. You're just a guy who happened to be in their squad that night.
Fair, right. But their job is range safety officer. They are supposed to prevent anything unsafe.
Well, the quality of the range safety officer versus, again, the quality of the trainer in this case, I would expect to be very high because I'm paying you guys a lot of money to do this, right? The volunteer RSO who's hungover on a Friday night, he probably doesn't care at all, right? So I'm just like, there are good and bad RSOs out there, but yeah, the trainer should be much more interested. Well, you can make anything more or less dangerous, but sticking to the realm of training, do you guys think that this training does add additional dangers to, say, I don't know, generic skills and drills where you're shooting at a paper target the entire time, nobody goes downrange? Do you think it's more or less dangerous?
So my disagreement with that is also based on some of the comments that I've seen people have. They're like, why can't this be done with sims? Why can't this be done with blue guns? You know, why not run this dry? Well, some of these classes do have dry runs. Some of these you can run it without firing any shots. But so some of the training that I have done, so I went to an event hosted by Andy Stanford where we were doing a lot of like instructor stuff. So it was like, you know, cognitive based instruction and then how the mind works with some of these things, you know, differences in like the virtual reality and stuff. Your brain can tell the difference. So if you did a stage walkthrough with the meat pistol or the blue gun and you do the thing, now you strap on a loaded gun, it's going to be different. Just the same as if it's a piece of paper downrange versus a person standing there. If it's just a piece of paper, if you aren't truly visualizing that as another person, or if it is a real person, there's going to be different consequences there. So your brain can always tell the difference. Like, it's very hard to outsmart the human mind. So if you're having an unloaded gun or if it's a blue gun, you're going to do stuff that you wouldn't do with a loaded gun because your brain can tell or thinks it can tell the difference. Like the people who get shot with an unloaded gun are the people who think they tricked their brain and then they light a round off into themselves.
Like you have heard of that, right? Like people shoot themselves cleaning a gun, or it.
I
Don't
have
worry.
seen many people win Darwin Awards by
Yeah.
thinking their gun was clear and, doing
And
stupid things. Many
because
hood
because they
doctors have been injured by an uncleared firearm.
because they treated it with a lack of respect because they thought it was cleared. So if you keep the guns loaded and you treat them with the respect they deserve, stuff like that doesn't happen.
Now, to answer,
So-
John, is there a risk?
Well, more
I mean,
risk. I want to be clear on that. I want to press on that. Do you think there's more risk or less risk with
I
some of these
think
other
it's-
variables?
I think risk level is the same. I actually think because of increased attentiveness due to understanding the gravity of possible consequences, people actually act more involved. They don't allow any brain farts, not just when they press the trigger, but when they move, where is the orientation of the muzzle, all the other factors.
Yeah.
I think actually a risk factor does not change. Attentiveness of a participant in that drill increases significantly.
Then
I know I've been in classes where I'm standing on a line with a bunch of people, and like, let's say we're gonna run 3 to the heart and 2 to the head or something like that, and the call goes out to go, and there's like a little bit, we're dudes, there's a competitive thing, like I want to be the first person done, right? Or have the tightest group, or whatever it is. I have thoughts in my mind going on, like those things are not present once the consequence becomes real. Your ability to focus on what needs to be accomplished and doing it correctly just skyrockets. It takes center stage.
Right. So you say the consequences are higher, are real, but you think the safety factor is the same.
Yeah.
yeah. So are you familiar with John Farnham?
No, sir.
So he runs a company, Defense Training International. So he was like the first traveling firearms instructor. So like he's been doing it for a long time. He was like a Marine Corps ninja in Vietnam doing stuff, and then teaching here. So his philosophy, which I've been through the instructor process for him. So nothing that you could be doing with a gun is going to be safe, especially in the mindset of defending yourself. Like even performance shooting, if you use a loaded gun, there is a potential for danger. So true safety is an illusion. So what it comes down to is the attentiveness of the staff and of the students primarily. So I've been in to name a couple of companies like Warrior Poet Society, Super Dave, Combat Speed LLC. A bunch of these guys do downrange drills, whether they see it a certain way or not. The way that it gets put to you is that if we're downrange and you were to turn 2 feet to the left and shoot the person standing downrange, that's not an accident. That's a murder. So if someone is not confident in their skills enough to do that, so many of these, like the drills that we do here, you're allowed to not participate if you so choose. But if you choose to participate and were to do that, if you are unsafe enough that you're going to have a 200 MOA flinch over to the guy standing there, you're just as unsafe on a firing line with 180 degrees if you're going to accidentally point your gun where you're not looking or bend over with the muzzle. Those kinds of things, like it really comes down to the student and then by extension the people hosting the class. But anything that has to do with loaded guns, knives, martial arts, there's an inherent danger or risk, but that can never truly be mitigated. So I would argue that the content of the student's education and their responsibility and attentiveness is going to be the determining factor. Like,
Yeah. And people throw out there the, like, what about the bee sting? Like, what if he gets stung by a bee? What if he sneezes? What if he trips? Like, again, the students who are participating in a drill like this are already like cleared by the instructor, like as having sufficient skill for that, and the gun handling awareness to be able to deal with any of those situations if they were to go to the ground, to trip over their own feet or whatever. And like you saw, when people who are new to it are doing it, they move carefully, right? If Josh and I were to run that drill, it would look different. It would look much different than that video. And you might even think it looks cool more than it looks dangerous. These were students who were new to an experience like that. I'm much better with the ladies now than I was in high school. It's crawl, walk, run, you know?
Well, so there was a lot there. I do want to touch on the mitigation of safety. So we all agree that life is unsafe, right? So, but we want to mitigate it as much as possible. Guns are unsafe, cars are unsafe, all that sort of stuff, right? You're never going to truly get down to totally perfect safety. And if you want that, you're going to lock yourself in a vault somewhere and never move and have your water delivered by, somebody else on DoorDash or something, right? Never going to leave your house. But if I see, we all agree cars are dangerous, but if I see two guys doing wheelies in a Walmart parking lot, while I'm not personally scared of that, I look over there and I'm like, oh, those two are retards, right? Like, I don't see the benefit of doing that. They're adding an unsafe level of safety, right? So we all agree that cars are dangerous, but you can modify a drill, you can modify, whatever the speed is of your car or whatnot to make it completely unsafe and irrational and have no real benefit. The drill that I really wanted to talk about was this one. So in this picture, I believe it's 2018, 2019 timeframe.
Just if I can, just like 10 seconds. So if you take like a performance driving class,
I have, yes.
Like they put you on a skid pad, teach you how to lose control so that you can regain it, right?
Yes, but they don't put the instructor on turn one when I'm doing 130 miles an hour. Right. They don't do that.
Different context, right? So
I mean, you're sitting in front of a gun.
It's not going to hold 100% with if would they have an instructor trailing you or in front of you that you're driving? They might put multiple students on the track if there's an instructor in your car and an instructor in the car to your rear. You guys both might be doing some stuff that, again, the local mom in the parking lot, if you were doing it there, she would be like, that's crazy. Like, what is this, Tokyo Drift or whatever the case is. But the pushing in a controlled area is not necessarily bringing with it extra danger just because that danger is perceived by someone who doesn't understand or who hasn't been through it.
Well, walk me through that part of it specifically. So for the people who haven't seen this drill, I think this is 2018, 2019. Gentleman with an AK is shooting at that center target while two gentlemen gently push him left and right as Sonny's standing there like 3 feet off to the left, right?
Yeah.
So to me, this seems very analogous to, instead of the teacher being in the car with you or in a trail car or in a lead car, like showing you around the track, him standing on turn one, like, just don't hit me, you'll be fine, I'm not in the racing line. That's right. It's like, you can do that, and sure, you shouldn't hit him. You should be able to complete this without any issue, but it seems to be adding an unsafe level. I don't get the purpose of it, right? If I do a cost benefit analysis of this, I'm like, I shot really slowly while getting jostled back and forth, and there was a teacher up there who I definitely don't want to shoot, but if I'm getting pushed, I trip, I slip, something, and people are actually pushing me in this drill, right? And I was like, Sonny, I don't want something bad to happen here, right? So I just don't get the benefit that I'm getting out of this drill, right?
Okay, right. So you're saying, on the skid pad, by the way, there was a time when I taught at Bill Scott Raceway for a little bit. So when I was younger, I loved speed, but I'm old now. So anyway, back to this. if this gentleman who's walking there with a rifle was a car, he's driving around that skid pad at about 7 miles per hour. As a driving instructor, do you feel that at 7 miles per hour, as his first run on the skid pad with water being sprayed and all that stuff, it's okay to stand 3 feet off the pavement in the grass, watching him go around and around and around?
Does the driver have a gun pointed at me in this example?
No. This is full. This is
Pad would be fine.
This is
I would be
putting a
comfortable with that.
false metric into it, because
Well, right, but one of them does have a gun, though. That's the difference, right? It's like the analogy, like, because again, all he has to do here, you're about what looks like starting about 10 yards away. It's only a couple degree deflection before that muzzle is pointed to you, basically. So again, to me, and that bullet is still moving at 2,300 feet per second. Regardless, there is no slow-mo bullet out of that. You're not using safety rounds or whatever it is. So that's the difference there, right? Is that the danger with the gun is always at maximum, right? Whereas a car, like 2 miles an hour, like he could almost run you over without a problem, right? You could sidestep him, But with this, it's like that bullet is always going that speed.
Yeah.
go ahead.
I think Sonny was using the 7 mile an hour as an attempted analogy on the skill level of that particular shooter.
That particular shooter had a very specific question. He asked me a question. By the way, John, let me just introduce a little moment into this. A lot of dudes look at these drills and they go like, oh, so this is how they train, right? This is done. Every student goes through these drills and they do that every class or 3 times a day or whatnot. Most of the time, it's not the case. In that specific class, this gentleman who's walking with AK, he's the only one who did that. The reason for that, why I had him do that, because he had asked very specific question pertaining to certain things to do with trigger manipulations as it comes to surprise something, surprise bump, surprise trip, surprise something to where things may happen. So this was for him to experience something different with trigger finger direction. Anyway, not going to go into details here because it's not free information either. So we're businessmen here, right? I know former commie talking about business and capitalism. It's kind of funny, but hey.
I mean, that's the way it should be, right?
Right. At least that's my understanding of it. Is I'm still kind of fresh here, after 30 years. But so
I mean, you've been here as long as I have, so I think you got a good hang of it.
How old are you, John?
I'm 30 years old, sir.
I hate you. Well, on the other hand, my wife is only 3 years older than you, so I scored well.
Oof, all right. There you go.
Oh, I know, man. I know. And so anyway, standing 3 feet away from the target, right? If Lewis was running this drill, the impulses that he would be getting would be significantly faster, possibly even more severe. And
In terms of the pushes?
Yes, an amount of shots that Lewis would have to fire would be significantly higher. This guy was not told you have to fire so many shots at this pace or whatnot. It was just this. Make sure that you are aware of your muzzle orientation, and the only time you press the trigger when you make decision to press the trigger. At no point in time I was swept. At no point in time he had no control over it. Now, he's not a new shooter. That guy, who we're talking about, he's been shooting for a number of years, but he has not had experience of doing it this way. He asked specific question, and we went into long explanation about impulsive actions due to unexpected collision, stress, tripping, whatnot, what are the ways that possibly we can, at least to some degree, mitigate something bad happening. This was a demonstration that was put together to illustrate a point.
Okay. So moving along here a little bit, the point of these drills and the different things that you do, this isn't like the main thing. You said this is kind of a one-off here, right? That specific instance that you posted up.
I wouldn't say it's one-off, depending on level of the class. depending on level of the students that attend.
Yeah.
Like these past 3 days, I'm teaching the class that's invitation only. It's not open enrollment class. These are only guys that have been invited to attend. Okay. For my own reasons, I picked the people that are invited to attend these classes, and it is what it is. Things that we're going to do tomorrow and Wednesday, I mean, if your crowd there wants some entertainment, I can have one of my son maybe shoot some video and we'll put it out there. And boy, oh boy, John, you're gonna have 3 more interviews with us because
Well, you're gonna keep me employed. It's job security, right?
Yeah, hey man, just give me a cut, 10%, not much I'm asking for.
I mean, that's very generous, Sonny. Honestly, you should have asked for more. I'd take you up on that.
I'm endangering my life for you, John. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, literally. I'm like, don't do it. But at the same time, it's so lucrative. Well, so can I ask, what's the average student that comes to your classes? Is it a wide variety? Do you get new shooters? Is it mostly experienced shooters? Is it people who are professionally employed? Do you have police, military, law enforcement, whatever it might be? Like, who's like the normal guy that goes to one of your classes?
So I would say the average age of my students is somewhere from the lower to mid 30s into early 40s. That's the average age. I would say that 60% of them are former military action professionals. I would say that about 15 to 20% of them are former, not, how would I say it without using all the cliches, not just military. Let's just put it this way.
Cool dudes. I think that's the appropriate term.
Cool dudes. Yeah. The ninjas, right? We do have very few women training with us. I am looking for ways to change it. And it's not about firearms. It's women's self-defense in general. I have 2 daughters. I have a wife. All 3 of them are good looking. So, I'm concerned about it, what I see in Krav Maga studios and so forth and so forth. But that's a separate topic. If I were, again, John, I'm not claiming I never participated in competition as you guys do it. Have I run drills that have to be done in certain time and certain number of hits have to be done on this target or that target or that? Yes. But there were also other metrics involved. It's your time of exposure. It's your time of other things that are related there. It's certain things, what happens when it's click instead of bang, induced malfunctions, and on and on and on. Maybe 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes of physical exertion prior. Maybe you get choked out into unconsciousness just before you run the drill, and then you come out with double vision and auditory exclusion, and you start the drill from there. Many, many things, right? So I would say, from your perspective as competitive shooters, they would be probably in the middle of the pack, not in any of the master categories or whatnot, but as the guys coming into the competition, they would be middle of the pack. Some of them, including the 2 gentlemen, especially Louis and Josh, by the way. Some of you dudes that are making fun because Josh seems to you like a little bit larger guy. Some of you guys would be outshot by Josh. I'm just going to tell you that. He ran some drills that people struggle with any weapon of any level of training with a fucking revolver and still did it. All right. So
I see revolver guys show up to matches sometimes. They're wacky dudes, bro. The reloads, the stage planning, it's all
Josh
wacky.
is not a revolver guy. He just sometimes happens to have in the pocket of his coat or whatnot a revolver next to the real thing that he carries or 2 elsewhere. Right. But so, yeah, I would say that as strictly shooters, the guys that are coming to my classes are certainly above average. Okay. Have I had master level shooters coming to my class? Yes. Have I had guys that have won competitions? Yes. How did they do? We'll talk about it in private. I don't want to hurt feels. I don't want to seem like arrogant dude and all that stuff. And I do understand why things happen, because lack of exposure to certain components that we do in our training throws people off the track. So as shooters, my guys are above average, but they're not at the level of some of the guys that you have even in the comment section, and certainly not on the level of, let's say, Ben or, that level of shooters. Um, when it comes to physical preparedness, when it comes to all other aspects of violence, as far as dealing with other weapons, doing other things, medical training, communications training, uh, we we can't compare. We can't compare because these dudes do a lot of stuff. They go through the things for the last 3 days. What we're doing about things that, you know, many dudes would have their colors changed and they would be in the hospital right now getting transfusions, hitting each other pretty damn hard and everywhere and doing other things. This was not a firearms class. Firearms class is tomorrow and Wednesday. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I don't have, you know, classes filled with grandmaster level shooters.
Well, I just want to kind of get a feel for like who's the average student there. So you say it's still over 50% military, people who you're not getting like people who have never shot before, right? Because you don't
nobody like
you
that
don't
said that.
advertise your class as a basic skills and drills class, right? That's not what you advertise for.
Very few people came in where my class was their first like formal class with instructor that's available, let's say through internet. They've taken some training on their local shooting club or whatnot, but those are 1 in 100, maybe less. Never had complete novice coming to the classes where we do things of this nature.
I got you. Well, so
on few cases, I told people to sit out the drills myself because of what I saw. I don't think they were ready to do those drills, and I sat them aside, told them, don't feel insulted. It is what it is. You don't have what it takes yet. We'll work on it.
So I have a question about this. So you talk about fighting that happens to be done with a gun, or unfortunately done with a gun, right? So you're more of a fighter, not necessarily a shooter, right? That's not how you advertise your classes. So I've heard it from a lot of professionals, Matt Prank and a few other guys that are in this sort of sphere of being former cool dudes, training cool dudes, that the hard skills are the hard part, and they're that underlying like base level. So just for reference here, let's take a hypothetical. If I take a GM level shooter who has like truly perfected shooting basics, right? And I have him run an unknown course versus somebody who has like some other skills maybe, but is a much lower level shooter, the person who has the higher level shooting, do you think that he has a higher chance of having a positive outcome? Or do you think that that's secondary? Because it seems from what I've seen that you guys put that on a lower. Well, no, I'm even talking about, so let's talk about police officers, right? So police officers are involved in a lot of dynamic situations. No shoots, people, you know, all sorts of wacky things all the time. Police, by and large, suck at shooting. It's terrible. They will shoot 7 rounds and get 1 hit. They will shoot 16 times and get 2 hits. It's terrifyingly
even worse at
bad.
Fighting.
It's right, but it's terrifyingly bad. So from my perspective, it's like, well, how do we get these guys to actually do the thing better? It's, well, just be better at the thing, right? So we need to improve those hard skills up into a level to where they can just execute it on demand.
I don't think,
because like they don't even have the fundamental skills to execute, regardless of if they have the mindset or they're you know, they've had exposure to the stress over and over again. They've had exposure to these dynamic situations, but without the base skills, there's nothing coming to save them, right? They don't magically get that competency to do a 30-yard no-shoot target on moving targets with people in the foreground and background, right? That doesn't just magically appear out of the ether. That's done out of thousands of hours of dry fire, thousands of hours of range work, right? Everything else can also be practiced, of course, as well. But if those hard skills aren't there in the first place to actually execute on demand, like the stress inoculation, the specialized training, the more nuanced training that you guys do, does that have a place if they can't simply execute the task at hand?
All right. Because I've been talking so much, I'm going to have to go get some vodka or water. So before I pass on the microphone to these two fine gentlemen, I'm going to say something and I'm going to walk out for a few minutes. You know, old men also have smaller bladders, so I have to take care of business. So if this is the only metric that we're looking at, I'll be very honest. I would like to take a class with someone in the caliber of Ben Stoker if that was the only thing that I'm concerned with. I have zero doubts that I would learn shit ton on being a better shooter, on being faster, on putting more hate sooner in a tighter group, if those were the only parameters. Here's where it comes. How much of yourself and for how long was visible before you started pressing the trigger? If you only saving the time and introducing accuracy, and due to that accuracy and time, that's your main driving focus, that's your goal, to be fast and accurate and squeeze it as much as possible. In order for you to do that, you have to sacrifice certain parameters. There's going to be more exposure, there's going to be timing issues, how you walk, how you run into there, and many other factors. I would like to sit down like one-on-one, not necessarily any kind of internet popularity shit, and have a beer or three with people of that caliber, whether it's Matt Prank or Ben Stoker or whatnot, and actually shoot shit about it and go like, how does that converge together? We're not interested in winning matches. This does not mean that we think that matches is bullshit. Yeah, from our perspective in our circles, we kind of go like, from what we're interested in, what those guys do does not really apply, because the dude is in the fucking doorway, he's open, he does 6 steps before he stops, and he's worried about how quickly he presses the trigger, while I could have taken 2 days of teaching him how to move well, and he would have stopped in 1 step with a much better posture and less exposure, and then did his magic with the trigger. So our focus is different, and we have metrics that you guys don't, because you're not worried about it, because that's just the nature of what you guys do. And it's perfectly fine, man. We recognize that you have very narrow specialty. You guys are shooters, and you are extremely, extremely good at it. Extremely good at it. I'm kind of jealous. I wish I had time. I wish I had half the skills of freaking Ben Stoker when it comes to shooting. When that dude downrange is not behind translucent wall, when he can be hiding behind something, when he's moving, and I don't know if he's by himself or there's more. I don't know if that dude was making noise, there's shoot or no shoot target. I have to introduce a lot of other variables that either buy me time or change my elevations, or there is a beat change in my movement where he cannot just easily track me. I have to worry about a lot of other things. If I was sponsored or I hit the lottery, shit, I'd be at Stoker's class probably once a month to become better at shooting. And now together with my movement and in what I do, the way I move, the way I approach the corners and all that stuff, I would become fucking unbeatable ninja. Does that make sense, John?
Well, so I tried to take it away from the realm of competition and into police officers specifically, right? So talking specifically about people who are in these dynamic engagements, who are in these dynamic scenarios, right? With not just on the flat range, right? So they're dealing with all these different people, all these different walks of life, but they physically lack the hard skills to actually execute on what they want to do, right? I mean, police officers, they pass a qual and then they're done, right? And it's
So
like,
that's
kind of worthless.
So that, but they did. I agree with you. It's worthless, and it's a shame that the training that police officers get around the country, like one of our good buddies, probably the one who posted that AK video from the class he was in with Sonny, Jerry Nuss. He was in charge of a training program for a police department, and when he proposed one of the drills or one of the things he wanted to add to the qual was them pulling up with the cruiser, getting the rifle or shotgun out of the cruiser and hitting a piece of steel, at 25 yards. And he was told that could not be run in training or a qual because it was too dangerous. Like, so I think we're
right.
in
The thing you're actually going to do in real
agreement.
life is too dangerous. Yeah.
Exactly. The thing you're going to do in real life, we would agree you should practice.
Yes, right. Using your tools, but I wouldn't put 3 civilians in front of that steel plate and be like, time your shot, bro. Like, I wouldn't do that.
Why not?
I think the first time
Wait,
shooting.
like that legitimate question, because this is something I have a disconnect with.
Okay.
Like we've just agreed that practicing something similar to what you might deal with. So first of all, police officers probably have to shoot less people if they could fight, right? Like they'd be able to
Probably.
put
Yeah,
that.
I don't know about
Yeah.
that, but I mean, I could intuit
Like-
that. Yeah. Sure.
Like when you see some cops who have like some BJJ or some kind of hand-to-hand skills versus like the cop that's getting his ass kicked by a
Yeah, no, that's a good
girl
point.
in the
Yeah.
hotel parking lot, and she's like wrapping his microphone cord around his neck and he has to shoot her. Like, so one, they would probably have to shoot less if they had some more fighting skills. Two, once they do go to shooting, like you said, the only shooting they've ever done is like on the qual at whatever yardage in the lane in an indoor range, or maybe out in the open, you know, like very, very dissociated from what they're going to see and what they're going to have to actually deal with. Like we can laugh about it, how ridiculous it is that this police department wouldn't let an officer pull a car on the range, grab the rifle that they're paid to take out of the car, take it out, and hit that piece of steel. Like we can agree totally that that's absolutely asinine. I would argue that not having them shoot past an innocent person to hit what they need to hit is as asinine.
I have a bit of a disconnect because I do actually see other countries have this style of training where they put real people in between you and your target. I have a couple kind of silly videos pulled up that maybe you guys want to take a look at, and maybe you guys will even think this is way too far. But so in the context of the qual though, right? I want to make sure that the guy can even do the thing before he's allowed on the force, right? Because if you can't pass this, the consequences of not passing a qual should be like, sorry, you need to like remedial train yourself and then come back. But if you add, real people into a qual, it's like, oh yeah, you failed, and here's a murder charge, right? So little different consequences for that.
I'm with you. I think police officers should be trained way past whatever quals they have now, and like they should be doing stuff that like we would be looking at like, oh man,
glad I don't have to do that.
Yeah, glad I don't have to do that. That looks scary. Oh, there's 37 people in front of and behind. Like, I mean, because they really do have to deal with some shit. And then you get, the NYPD steps on a subway car and the two cops shoot each other because
or bystanders. Like there was that UPS robbery on a highway, and they shot like 10 people and not the subject, just bypassing through the UPS truck or whatever it happened to be in that situation.
Yeah.
Right?
So agreed, their training sucks. It's a tough nut to crack. I think it would 100%. I would say that some exposure to something other than a sterile range where they shoot that bowling pin for the qual would like help.
But that should be like post hard skills, right? So this is for people who have made it, who are in this, who are actually doing the job, right? So I see a lot of like in some of these earlier videos, we see like really what appears to be, I don't know these people, but they appear to be very low skill shooters doing these drills. And in that case, I'm like, you haven't like earned the right basically to do these, if that makes sense.
John, show the video, and we'll continue after that. That you said you have some silly video.
Oh, like this one.
I do have some. No, not this one. Not this one. So
because like those two dudes would do a build drill.
Have you guys ever seen this?
Yeah, of course,
yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so this one's wild to me. This one, I'm like, what are these guys even thinking, right? So this is, I believe, Brazil, some South American police force.
It is Brazil.
And okay, yeah, I'll only make it a little bit bigger for you guys. So the instructor is like running back and forth, and he's trying to juke his students while they're shooting, which to me is just like, and again, the shooters to me, just to what I see right now, do not appear to be of the highest skill. So I'm like, what are we doing here? Shouldn't we be a high skilled person and then do the high end drills and then do some of these if you want to get crazy with it, right? Shouldn't we like earn the right to do that? Does that make sense?
Do any of them, they don't muzzle him at all. I don't see anyone get muzzled in this. I see an instructor in the rear kind of holding safety, and I see them doing a decent job of getting their rounds in what their department is calling an okay hit area, right? Like I see them accomplishing the task.
Now, from competition perspective, they absolutely suck because their grouping is fucking terrible. And, you know,
A lot of Charlies.
back in a certain foreign country, I asked the question of one of my command officers. I said, you know, he was carrying a suppressed Stechkin 9x18. And I go like, dude, that's such a, you know, inadequate caliber. And obviously it was conversation in Russian language. And the dude said, none of the Mujahideen I shot complained about it.
Right.
He goes, I put enough of them fast enough where they belong. Nobody complained. So, you know, when you say, do they have to learn the hard skill before they do this higher risk, some people will say, or, you know, unnecessary risk introduced into a drill? So, all right, let's look into it. In any physical activity, if we take a look at boxing, at jiu-jitsu, at American football, rugby, hockey. If I say that in hockey, okay, the only time I'm going to allow any contact between opposing teams is after the guys can hit 100% of their shots into the net with the puck unchallenged, only then we're going to get into contact maneuvering, changing directions, little checks, and all that stuff. I already know some arguments that go like, well, yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense because the shots that you're going to have to make while being challenged are not going to have the same mechanics, the same presentation, the same timing signature, or anything else. So you're preparing yourself basically to become a 3-point shooter in basketball, and you become 100% shot. You fire 100 shots off of free throw line, and you make 100. Does that make you Michael Jordan?
Well, no, of course not.
And again, this is their first time, potentially their first time ever doing something like that. So there's an abundance of caution that they're taking. So it's weird. We kind of hear things that seem to come from both sides of the mouth. Like they should be shooting faster. That's crazy dangerous, right? Like, so
right, but I don't want to combine those two things, right? I personally don't see much benefit to that at all. Well, so first, I think it's the first one we can do clean without anyone in front of the gun at all, right? We can shoot really fast and really accurate. Not an engagement strategy, but we can have that skill, right? So if we go back to a sports analogy, like in boxing, if the guy's first time in the gym, I'm like, all right, buddy, you're sparring Mike Tyson. It's like, no, you're going to hit a heavy bag, and I'm going to show you how to throw a jab, right? You're going to do that 1,000 times before you even see another person in the ring with you. Or, you know, you're going to do that for a little while. We're going to teach you the basics, right? Before we get you in the ring with somebody. And then we're going to get you in the ring with somebody who isn't just going to kick the shit out of you, right?
John,
you know, usually you can send him in there against Mike Tyson, right? But most trainers probably wouldn't, right?
Maybe we've been to some different boxing gyms, but I tell you from, you know, a little personal story just to entertain your viewers. You know, I got involved in martial path at the age of 6. I was bullied. I was getting my ass kicked and all that. And then I saw fucking Enter the Dragon, you know, with Bruce Lee and the hairy Chuck Norris. And I got into that path, you know, that fight in Coliseum was like the shit, you know, as far as I'm concerned. Well, I was concerned. And, you know, since then I started with everything, with judo, with other Asian things, and boxing and kickboxing, Muay Thai, Muay Boron, Silat, Filipino arts, on and on and on. And in most of the places that I went, yes, there was some basic preparatory thing. Understand that the strike does not look like this. Understand that it has to move certain way. Understand the basic mechanics. But no, they did not make me do 10,000 repetitions before they put a person in front of me. And no, that person was not at the level of Mike Tyson, nowhere near it. Okay. And he was really not punishing me. He's not punching back or whatnot, but he was making that environment slightly more challenging. There was a little bit more saturation of space. I was not in the open air in front of the punching bag without any saturation, because that started a problem-solving process while you performing a task, not as a two separate things. Because if I'm only taught to perform the task in the operating room kind of clean environment, and I absolutely perfect that hard skill, absolutely perfect. Okay, when someone introduces things that shouldn't be in that clean environment, my hard skill was not being trained and fine-tuned with any consideration that things will not be quite perfect. I'm going to have to start changing a lot. The problem with that is that if I train that for 2-3 years, I have developed not only hard skill, I developed a habit, habitual reactions that are now on automaticity level. And I'm going to have problems of taking 16 steps back to re-engineer that thing to address every single variable that can be introduced into the unscripted event.
Well, so I'm all for progressive training and escalation, right? So like you said, you learn the basics, you're going to get in there with somebody better. It's going to escalate, right? You're going to continue to push yourself, continue to be uncomfortable. I think that's the only way to really improve in training. I think maybe where the disconnect comes between us and drills like this is really, I see this drill as an elective high level thing that should only be done by people who are at a very high base skill level already. Whereas you guys see this as part of like the path itself, right?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
A big thing here, like before we even get into arguing to the point, like logistically, like if every cop in America was trained to a fantastic level, that'd probably be pretty awesome, but that's not going to happen. Like the people to train them is not going to be there. The money is not willing to be spent. The liability is not allocated. And then, like, the problem is law enforcement now, for the most part, does not hire gun people. And then they're more worried about lawsuits than actually training. And then the stock of people becoming cops are, like, they're lowering the bar progressively. So eventually you're going to say, hey, I need you to be at least, like, an A-level shooter to be a cop. I'd be like, dope. That's awesome. Because, like, eventually you get to a diminishing point of return. Like eventually, like you start playing the game of being better at the competition or the stage than it is to do the shooting part, like in a real context. If you said, hey, every cop in America becomes an A-level class shooter, and they're not going to pay for it, they're not going to find the trainers, and then a lot of the people becoming cops just aren't going to do it. And that's spread across, their ability to communicate on the radio. That's spread across to write a report, to pay attention, to use any of their other tools, to learn to fight, to communicate with the public. It's just logistically, it's impossible. And then beyond that, I do think, like, ideally, the cop, if they're going to show up to save my life, I'd love for them to be as skilled as possible, but also what different behaviors that introduces, because there's a lot of cops that I know. A couple of them are pretty prolific trainers that used to do competition for, the accolades, but then they realized they started doing things that they shouldn't. So they're moving from cover with an empty pistol because they want to be faster. Part of that's, playing the game, and then shooting beyond your ability to make a decision or beyond your vision. Like I'd love to have like, whatever I don't even know what a good bill drill is. Like if it's, every cop can do it in 1.5 seconds from the draw. That'd be awesome, except they're shooting faster than they can see. So like we've got a bunch of clips of cops just mag dumping really fast. They've got great splits, but they're not hitting anything.
They have the hard skill of splits that I don't have. Like I I can't really get below 0.18. And I've watched plenty of people with the hard skill of splits wearing a badge let them loose when an acorn falls on a truck.
Yeah. And then another thing is the context of what it happens in. So a lot of it, talking about like the UPS shooting or all these cops shooting people that aren't affected, is because they're on a range where Rule 4 is taken for granted. Like they're like no one is allowed to be past this line, and there's only this paper target or this steel target. So if your brain is not exercising the problem solving part, it's like a muscle that's just gonna atrophy.
The first time that they take a shot with actual consequence is on the street in a crowded environment.
Yeah. And that's
well, in that case, I want them to be able to put the rounds exactly where they want them to go in the shortest amount of time. So like we all agree that, police training could be better, 100%. But I don't want that just to be like the cope statement. It's like, oh, cops training is bad, so we give up on it. It's like, well, no, we should just change that, right? We should advocate for better training. We should advocate for these guys to be less lazy, to actually be cared with their skills. Because for me personally, if I have like a SWAT team coming to rescue me and my family, I'm hoping it's 6 Matt Prankas cranked up on speed. Okay, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping it's 6 guys who are absolutely locked down with their hard skills. Okay, pardon the analogy, but that's what I'm hoping for. Who's coming through that door? Who's jumping off the litter bird? I hope it's him. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, to tell a story. So before I moved down to Texas, my neighbor across the street, just given that it's the kind of area, his daughter's ex-fiance came over and basically was like shooting up his house and like holding his wife hostage, like talking with the dude, like the first time that you have to shoot past somebody, like your wife being held at knife point, like especially for cops, I think the first time that they have to shoot past somebody could probably be done safely in a controlled environment and training, not like, oh shit, like there's a guy at the Walmart, let me shoot past all these people and then just figure it out.
And the way I see it is like there are these chains that are on us, like mentally, that once broken, the chains are broken forever. So to have a cop shoot past a training officer or something like that, if someone came in through that door on the other side of Sunny, I don't want it to be my first time ever taking a shot past people to be right then, there, now, and me have to figure all that stuff out, right? We know that vision can drive the gun, right? Like that's part of developing hard skills. So if we know that that's something that can be, then why have the vision of my friendly, right, be something that now I'm concerned about versus having that chain broken off me, where Sonny and Josh are not a concern to me, or I'm not uncomfortable and my focus going to, oh my goodness, I'm about to point my gun past people, right? Like that chain has been forever broken off of me. So there's going to be no hesitation in my application of the hard skill, no distraction to my psyche.
So that is a hard skill, though, is practicing the vision focus, right? And that's the thing that we as shooters is like the hardest thing to master. Now, something that you guys do in class, though, if you don't mind me pulling this up real fast, is this just an image that I pulled off your class? This is actually for the next couple days, right? The Shooter Fighter Matrix 2.0. But there's this stack of what appears to be Sonny and I believe you, Lewis. And then it also has, actually, let me pull it up here.
This is way before Lewis met me.
Oh, okay. But is this a skill that you guys practice? Is this what you're talking about when it's like, okay, I want the first time I shoot past a friendly not to be in a live or die situation, but to be in a controlled environment? Is this that controlled environment that we're talking about?
This is absolutely a controlled environment, John. I mean, if you look at the picture, if somebody has eyes, they will see that people are wearing masks made by UTM. This is force on force training class where we work force on target before we work force on force. You see the mask of the guy next to the target?
Yeah, no, I totally see the mask
He's certainly not wearing it to stop at 9 millimeter, 115 grain. I can tell you that much.
here.
Right?
So this isn't something that you would do with live rounds.
No, this is force on force class with certain people, like two dudes sitting next to me. I have absolutely zero problem. You know what? Just for you, so you can make money, we'll film one tomorrow.
Put your ears on.
Well, maybe I'm misremembering things, but have I seen a picture of Sonny, you having a student shoot past your head? Like you're standing like blocked out in front of him basically and he's shooting around you.
Yeah, not only that, actually, there was a class in Indiana about 8 years ago where my wife, Megan, we just got engaged and we weren't married yet. And kind of laughingly, because she was pretty nervous, I said, let's check if she really loves me. And I stood relatively not that close to the target as you see in that picture. And apparently she loved me, at least back then, because I'm still around.
Right,
right?
you got to recheck that every year, right? See how
No,
the relationship's
man,
going.
At this point, she's gotten pretty good, so I don't need to really pressure test her on that. So it's all good. But no, like this specific class was done in the old facility that I used to be director of training for a company in Dallas called Patriot Protection. We used to run class called Violence Uncensored. It's a 3-day class, force on force class. It involved a number of things. It involved, I have shit tons of video that I can show you, send you, and all that stuff. And there was no live fire in these classes that you see the picture there. This is all UTM before UTM became gay and refused to sell to civilians. So now, it is what it is.
Again, and I'm sorry, we probably should have even asked. We've been using your first name, and I was about to do it again. I don't want to be accused by Trent of doxing.
My fans know my name. They know.
Okay.
Like you can look up my PO box. Okay, my PO box is listed on my website. All right. So no,
and
Jonathan Campbell is my name. So yeah.
And that so that's not doxing you then.
No, sir.
All right. So we'll avoid that debate.
Yeah.
But like I don't speak for Sonny, right? Like I have a training company with Josh that we're going to be kicking off in 2026. I worked at Tactical Response for a long time, so trained, thousands of students under that banner. I don't see a problem doing that live fire with students who are ready for it. Like I have actually used stuff like standing next to a target to help folks focus. Kind of hard to explain, but there's certain times as an instructor where the person knows what they need to do, but is worried about something else. And so to bring them to focus, I would stand shoulder to shoulder with the target. Again, these aren't people who are like missing the cardboard, but say they're, just a bit bigger than a fist size group when I'm asking for the fist size group and trying to get them to focus. I would stand at the target and watch their follow through, the way that they're manipulating the trigger, like all of that stuff, because it's a unique perspective to be able to see from as close to what they're looking at and what they're doing. And you watch their focus, like just is there. Like they've never pressed the trigger as straight into the rear. They've never had such good, sight picture. Like they tune in and then step away and boom, next thing you know, they're like shooting a ragged hole in the target. So I think I have run drills we call the human target stand with folks, and it was their third day of shooting a gun. So if that's the like sound bite that you're looking for, I'll give it to you. Like I have run that drill with perfect confidence in the execution. I've also asked students to go ahead and watch people that have been I've been shooting my whole life kind of people, right? Like you're not ready for what we're about to do next. So we'll just go into it. Like you can learn from watching, and we can work on the side to get you to a point of focus where you can do something like this.
So I've talked a lot about my perspective as I've seen something. No, I'm just nobody, nothing from nowhere. You know, for people who don't know my background, master in limited optics, carry optics, and USPSA, just a gamer dude. All right, no other background, nothing special at all. But from your guys' perspective, as the teachers, why do you think you get hate or criticism from some of the big names out there? Ben Steger, Matt Pranka, some of these other training groups. Why do you think they criticize what you do? Right.
Okay, let me answer this.
It's easy to go like they hate
Haters
us.
gonna hate, yeah.
They hate us because they ain't us. Well, yeah.
Let me start with something here. All right. So, you know, I could show it to you now. You know, I wasn't organizing this. It was Lewis and Josh. They go like, hey, we're talking to John, you know, maybe we're gonna do this. And during the class, we've been doing classes for the past 5 days now.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, I would go like, is it going on? Is it happening? Whatever, because you know, I'm gonna plan my night where I'm gonna put the steak on the grill, or I'm gonna come here and talk to some John dude from somewhere, you know.
Well, we appreciate it. I hope that steak is still good.
No, no. Actually, it's Monday. I cannot eat meat. I'm a Christian, you know, Orthodox Christian. So now during this season before the Christmas, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we don't eat meat. So I'm
Very base. May I ask what Rocor?
Actually, I go for both. I go through either OCA or Rocor or Antiochian Orthodox Church. So
Gotcha.
I'm cool with all three of them. I know what they say, that Rocor is just an arm of Putin's government.
Well, I have friends in Rocor, so that's why I was asking. So
I did get a check from Putin just yesterday. So
perfect. Yes. A $7,000 check cleared. All right. As long as he's, you know, if Israel's sending out $7,000 checks, Putin should send out $7,000 checks as well. I mean, come on.
That's right. You know, Red Dawn is just a movie, and it's the worst sci-fi movie ever. All right, no matter what you want. So anyway, back to serious point. Why are we? What we do is criticized by so many big names, right? Like Matt Pranka, who's former CAG guy, and a number of others, and my old acquaintances, like, you know, we're never close friends, but we've been on the same TV shows, like Larry Vickers, and on and on and on and on. I've been in this rodeo for a while. I've been doing training for just a little bit shorter than you have lived, John. Just a little bit shorter.
Yep.
I know most of the big names. I've shared drinks and broken bread with many of the CAG guys and DevGru guys. I've been to Wally World. I have been to Dam Neck, Virginia. I've been to Coronado Island. I used to train units. I dropped old institutional training over 8 years ago. I will teach individual officers. I will teach dudes from the units, and they do show up. I will not take stolen money for the training for the people that don't want to fucking be there. I have other reasons. They are a little bit more morality, politically, whatever you want to call it, based. I'm not looking to have a Lamborghini as a result of my work. Don't give a shit. Tractor is more interesting for me than Lamborghini is. But back to your question, why they hate it. You know, I have few students who are pretty high-end lawyers, and they talk about how cases are argued in the court of law. Usually, if it's a bad case, you know, my counselor here on the other side presents the bad case. In front of a judge, I will kill his case on the merits of a bad case. It's going to be disassembled that your facts are this, your facts are this, it's all bullshit, it's all this, it's all that, it's all that. If he presents the good case, I'm going to start digging into his background. When was the last time he shit his pants when he sneezed? What was the last
Yesterday.
time? What was the last time he was DUI without being caught and charged with DUI? How many bitches he fucked behind his wife's back? All the other trash that I can pull from, because his case is so strong, I have to have a personal attack. Okay, if you look about in our training and what's being criticized, right? John, I want to ask you a question. What are the arguments that many folks, including yourself, bring forth other than a very obscure statement? This is unnecessary risk. This is unsafe. And what else?
So I think it does boil down to those two most of the time. It's either pointless, right? Because we've talked about this, but the way that I view it is, it seems to be the shooting is very simplistic. That's like the easiest part of the drill, right?
Agreed.
You're focusing on other things, mindset,
Agreed.
a little bit of stress, other metrics, right, that you've talked about. But yeah, I personally don't see a point to it. I am not clutching my pearls and saying that's so dangerous. But my analogy earlier, when I see people doing wheelies in the Walmart parking lot, I'm like, that doesn't look like for me, basically.
What do you say
I'm
to
not one of the. What do I see other people making?
No, what do you say to people jumping out of the perfectly good airplanes with the parachutes? What do you say to people that climb Mount Everest? What do you say to people that
I would
dive
also say the same to that, because that has a very high death count.
No, and in some cases I agree, like motorcycles. I don't ride motorcycle. I think it's stupid. I used to be a paramedic. I picked up few body parts off the road, but I'm in the stage of my life, like halftime, what's that midlife crisis, because I will live to about 120. I'm like, I want to buy myself a badass Harley, and take that risk. That's in the fun factor. Now, as far as risks in training, this is not a dick swinging contest or whatnot, but if I had a pleasure to discuss things like that with, let's say, Matt Pranka, considering his background or whatnot, okay, I think it could be an interesting discussion, because, I would have some questions to Matt myself, not just him asking me questions, because I've been around and I've seen things. I had guns pointed, I pointed guns. And there are certain metrics that you cannot fucking duplicate no matter how much you talk about it. You can say it's unsafe to jump out of the parachute and do, halo versus hey-ho, depending on this variable or that variable. Do you know who packed your parachute? Too much risk? What if it's your job? I know what the internet is saying, guys, this is not your job. You're not action professionals. It changes in 1 fucking second when you walk out of that damn Walmart.
Yeah.
It becomes your job. And you have nothing to do about it. You have no choice. You have nothing. You may not be in your best physical shape. You may have your mind fucked up because you have this happening, not perfect light conditions, 62 grandmas loading their cars down on the parking lot. Now what? Oh, I'm just going to have a hard skill. One of those grandmas is pushing the fucking cart, but your hard skill is to be in the pipe of that red dot, and you're shooting ahead of you being able to actually make decisions, because that's what's built into your competition.
Or
I'll submit to you, that's risky, John.
Boom. First one.
Maybe I'm not as fast as you, not as accurate as you by certain measurement. And I don't like word awareness. I think it's freaking gay. Okay. But I do have more accountability on everything that surrounds me. I don't fall into a pipe because I trained for it. We do have downrange drills where people stand at 45-degree angle and they do specific actions, and shooter has to be within a certain relatively small area of the target while shooting, at the same time being able to observe what's going on to the right, to the left, without turning his head to look at it, and at the same time verbalizing what's going on loudly enough through the gunshots for people downrange to hear it, what's going on. Crazy drill, dangerous drill? Not at all.
Like, yeah. And the way I look at it, like, if Matt Pranka said, Well, first of all, so I taught new shooters at Tactical Response. I've taught high level people as well. Teaching shooting is easy. Like, you give me someone who's never touched a gun, and within a half hour, I could have them shooting, 3-inch group at 10 yards all day long, right? Like, it takes a half hour for that hard skill. So,
Not at any reasonable speed. Like, I mean, there are A&M level shooters that have a difficulty doing that at
again,
speed with movement and other variables in there.
so in order,
So, I mean, calling bullseye shooting at 10 yards a hard skill from somebody, that's...
would you call quarter-second splits reasonable? Like on the street again, because you have this metric in your mind of what it takes to win a competition, and that to win a competition, you have to be pressing that trigger faster than you can process what's going on. Like when you're shooting.
Well, so
doubles,
you're talking about the difference between predictive and reactive shooting. So
Right.
quarter-second splits is reactive shooting.
right?
So, like, I know where that dot is for every trigger pull at about a quarter second. That's about as fast as a human can reactively shoot.
When the cop comes in to your house, when that SWAT team is in there, do you want him to shoot faster than quarter-second splits? Because, and I'll give you a reason why I asked the question. Because when the first round hits the bad guy here, and then that second round in 18th later goes there through the wall into your son's room, like, he's not accountable for that round. He's shooting faster than he can be accountable. Yes, working with your grip and stuff like that. After the fact, we can see that the hole was on the cardboard, but that's because cardboard isn't inclined to dropping like a sack of potatoes. So I would want the cops coming into my family's house to shoot like quarter-second splits max, or at the fastest.
By the way, the example that Louis is using is a real life example
Yeah.
from about 5 years ago in Indiana of one of the students.
One of our friends was in a shooting or gunfight, and the first round hit dude like straight T-zone, hard skills like a motherfucker, right? And that second round, because he had been practicing a lot of doubles, and he called Jaeger, he talked to Jaeger about this. Holy shit, I let one go. Thank God there was a brick wall behind it. Like, so when your metric of what's fast versus like what's fast for handling a situation or in the midst of violence, I think are two different things. So you got to kind of flip that switch for us in your mind if you can, because I can get someone shooting quarter-second splits on a 3-inch circle at 10 yards in, like I said, half hour, maybe an hour max.
Sorry about that pop-up that was there. That's for a donation service people
Hey,
send
John.
out. That's distracting.
John, can I ask you a question? Are
Well,
you
I do want
seriously
to react.
not wearing pants?
I'll get to that after this, okay? Because there is a correct answer to that. But so in that example, there's a difference there. So the doubles drill is a predictive drill to understand, given your set of inputs, what the gun is doing, right? So I can predict with a rifle doubles inside of 20, 30, 40 yards that I'm going to be holding the A zone. Now, when you talk about what splits should somebody have when entering a house, the correct answer, what I want them to have, is as fast as applicable for the situation, right? So when you say one round goes into the T zone, one round goes above, that actually shows me that they did not have the proper hard skills in place, because the doubles drill, especially with a rifle, should allow you to basically stack rounds down to 14,
that's
15,
what I'm saying.
16 splits.
It's coming at the spot, right? So let me line up straight with the camera.
Right.
The rounds are coming literally behind each other. But as I fall, because the puppet strings get cut, like Pranko will agree, shoot somebody in the fucking face, you put a supersonic round into the head.
It's faster than Building 7.
Boom.
Well, so in that example, as I said, that would be too fast given where he was shooting and target size and distance, right? that would be
Right.
too fast for that application. So I think we both agree there that if he was actually falling out of the way and the man was not tracking the target, he just sent to at one spot, like predictably, is like, all right, there's a target there, I'm going to send to. Oh, the target moved, in the middle of me shooting and it wasn't there anymore. That
Not
actually
moved.
is on the officer. So that's
my
why
my first hit caused an effect that I couldn't process in time before my second.
right. So
was
once
out of
again,
effect.
that would be too fast for that target size and distance, right? So he is the cop in that
Both-
circumstance was.
Both, if we hung a cardboard target.
No,
on the
I
wall,
totally understand what you're saying.
Right.
Both impacts
They'd-
would be in the same spot. However,
they'd be,
again,
cloverleaf.
again, the target did something that he wasn't able to react to, right? Because he was shooting predictably. In this example that
Right,
you
he
provided,
was shooting
right?
too fast.
So yes,
he
in
was
this
shooting
example-
he was shooting not predictably. He was shooting at the pace that any human will not be able to react at
Mhm.
that change
Yeah.
of 6 inches in elevation of his head disappearing.
That's
below
what
the
predictive
zone.
is. Predictive
they
is you are
call it
shooting
predictive.
faster.
Okay,
It's predictive.
I-
Yeah, that is what
my-
we're saying. So
My
I mean,
apologies, I don't
I
have
totally
it.
get in that circumstance, right? So aiming for the T zone, first rounds here, drops below the second shot as it's coming in. You're not accountable for the second shot. That is totally on the officer. Again, I've seen different videos where somebody comes in and does like 12 splits into somebody's chest. Totally fine. Like you can watch Matt Pranka on Force on Force just shoot somebody down into the ground, basically, right? And then he's splitting as hard as he wants to, right? Target size, opportunity distance, all that sort of fun stuff. So yeah, in your example, he is shooting too fast, which is why the doubles drill, that competition pace, is not an engagement strategy. It is testing your limits, right? So it's like cleaning your max or deadlifting your max.
Right. I got there because I said I could teach the skill of shooting, a hard skill, to be able to put a 3.5-inch group at 10 yards in under an hour. And I can have just about anybody do it who's never even touched a gun before. So teaching shooting is kind of easy to reach let's call it survival level proficiency. If you can shoot quarter-second splits, that means you're shooting as fast as you can process what's happening. Right? If he moved, if he didn't move, if he dropped the knife, if he didn't drop the knife, if he's turning around, like you can process what's happening if you shoot quarter-second splits. So like if you can do that, I would call that survival level of proficiency in terms of speed. If you call a 3.5-inch, about a fist-sized group at 10 yards, decent marksmanship, I can teach that to someone who's never touched a gun before in about an hour. Now, like we can argue on how much harder the skills need to get and everything like that. I want to get back to the question you originally asked, why big names might say bad stuff on us, right? First of all, Stoger, like someone like Ben Stoger, I don't think he would tell you that he's in the business of teaching self-protection or fighting. I think actually very adamantly he's on the opposite side of things. Hey, I'm just teaching you how to shoot good. I think Matt Pranka says the exact same thing. I've heard him talk about Ronin tactics. Like, I don't need to teach anybody Bushido or how to be a warrior or how to be a protector. They come to me to learn how to shoot good. So his goal and the goal that like we have in this type of training is totally different. It also doesn't help Matt Pranka sell classes to be like, hey, this is some interesting stuff that, people should look into if they really want to protect themselves. Right? It doesn't help him sell a class to say anything positive about our video.
So you think there's a financial motivation between some of these other instructors out there?
I don't think it's the main motivation. I don't think I
main.
make even small percentage of some of these big names make. So they're not gonna get rich, by keeping students from coming to me. My student base and people that come to me it's very different motivation, it's very different outlook, it's very different conversations and exchanges. Okay, again, I never claimed and I never will claim that I am a shooting or marksmanship instructor. I am not. I'm okay with what I do when it comes to firearms, whether it's a pistol or rifle. I don't teach long range. I don't teach shotgun. Can I press the trigger? Can I hit what needs to be hit? Yes. Am I at the level to teach any of those things? No. There are people way better than me, and they would do much better job than me. Okay. I integrate certain things based on my experiences, based on 50 years plus of doing things in the martial realm and having been in quite a bit of real engagements in life that involved both weapons and no weapons. I share what I found for me were the crucial moments that made the difference.
Mm.
I don't go to your channel. I don't go to Matt Branca's videos to make disparaging things. Look at these insects specializing in their fucking super narrow skill and make fun of you. And they go like, I send these dudes to the trenches in Ukraine. They're not coming back. They're not coming back after one day. I don't have that goal because you guys do what you love. You're very good at what you do. Perfect. Beautiful. You have a lot of people that want to do what you do because it's amazing skill to be able to do what you guys do with that kind of time, with that kind of accuracy. Beautiful. Amazing. My goal is different. Yet what I find funny and pretty fucking humorous, it's a bunch of dudes doing what you guys do, feel like they're going to come and they're going to tell me, and I'm not going to put out my resume because this is not about that. And they tell me this dude doesn't know shit. I mean,
Well,
how do
maybe
you
I
look
can-
at it, John?
From my perspective, so
Yeah.
I think that the average person looking at this views it as range theatrics. It is for low skill people, let's say, to feel that they're doing something different, that they're doing something novel and unique. They pay to have an experience rather than actually work on the hard skills, right? Because I think people view dry fire as boring. I think shooting is expensive, so people don't shoot all that much, right? But I think some people view this almost as like, how do I say this? Like tourism in a way, right? So they can be the tactical Timmy and do the cool, like you see people spend like $1,500 on a GBRS CQB course, and they're dentists, right? It's like, that's fun, and I'm glad you had fun doing it, and that's great and all. But if it's like, you took the class 6 times, I think you just like doing footwork with other dudes. It's like fun, it's camaraderie. All right, I get it, whatever. But I think that's how most people view it. But you did say something in there, and if I could get you to respond to this one for me. So this specifically was about Ben Steger that you had mentioned.
Mhm.
I wonder if you could just kind of give me the rundown on this clip from your podcast the other night.
Well,
I'm going to address
perfect.
this
But
here
wait.
extensively.
Is when something goes down in the parking lot, not that guy because he's Canadian, so he definitely doesn't have a pistol on him, but somebody who has a pistol on them, and they could be fucking Shredder McShredderson, right? Like Ben Stoger with a gun on him in the parking lot. Does he now become a new shooter when there are people who are living and breathing downrange for the first time he's ever done it?
By the way, they are not necessarily standing, they're moving.
So in this clip, I just want to make sure that I get that right. I don't want to take that out of context. Are you saying that like somebody with, just take Ben Steger out of it, somebody with impeccable hard skills, you put them into a dynamic situation and they just fall apart? Versus, okay. Go,
No, it was a question, and I'll give you a little bit different example, whether people think it's applicable or not. You're very good at doing specific task in specific environment, and everything is known within that environment. Do things change when I change 1 or 2 hard metrics within that environment? Driving on asphalt versus driving in a sleet. If you never drove in the sleet and you only drove on the Autobahn in Germany, does that change when you're going at 120 miles an hour? The same car, the same tires, the same suspension, everything. It's the same skill. It's fucking driving, isn't it? Something within environment has changed.
So you're now new
to that environment. Your skill is not your skill has not changed, but the environment in which you're going to have to apply that skill has. Now it has certain unknowns that you haven't faced, possibly more than one.
Right.
Possibly
So
more than one.
I would still take Mario Andretti behind the wheel of that car, who has like
Yeah.
the perfect hard skills, versus, you know,
Yeah.
take your layman driver like me, right? So I have a little bit of driving experience. I've taken a couple like professional driving classes. Really was into that when I was a little bit younger. But yeah, I would take somebody who has those fundamental hard skills, who's been, you know, doing insane high speeds in rain, in sleet, in a professional circumstance, right? So I would take that guy.
John, we have a misunderstanding here. Would you take Mario Andretti, who has only driven on the Autobahn on the sunny day, and he can perform absolute miracles?
Or there's
with
a
all of-
dude from Minnesota who drives on snow fucking every day.
As a cab driver.
Not even near the driver of Mario Andretti, but he drives in snow and sleet and icy roads all the time.
Which one you would want to take your family to the airport?
Like now your son needs to get to the hospital now, and it's icy roads.
Right. But in this example, we've taken Mario Andretti's skill away from that, because I mean, he's driven races in snow and rain and all sorts of other fun things, right?
Okay, so if I tell
But Mario
But-
Andretti has.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So but are we saying
if
if we take
Stoker's
somebody who's
never
never
had-
driven?
Let's
Well,
yes.
Ben-
has Ben Stoker
Ben was a
shot
cop.
past the has
Ben was a
Stoker-
cop. Did you
Okay.
guys know that?
I
Ben was
wasn't
a-
aware of that.
Ben
I didn't
was
do the
a
research.
cop.
was he in officer involved shootings?
I don't know about his specific record or anything like that, but I know he was a police officer for a point in time.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So
it may have been a bad example that I grabbed. I was trying to say very accomplished shooter, somebody with hard skills on a sterile range, basically, you know, with a 180 rule. Does that clarify or
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but in my mind, in this crowded parking lot with people around, if you have to take a hard shot, for me, I would just pick the guy who has the best skills to engage in that, right? So would I take a C-level shooter who has done all of these classes or whatnot, right? Or would I take just insert your GM to take this difficult shot? In my mind, from where I'm standing, now I could be completely wrong about that, right? And I'm willing to be wrong about that. But in my mind, from where I'm sitting, I would take the guy who has the capability of taking that shot in the first place, right? Because if I
but don't both of them, like in A class,
maybe,
let's
well,
say
an A-class shooter would, an A-class shooter probably would, right? But I'm talking like,
So if you got an A-class shooter with experience in a similar situation versus a grandmaster, like who are you picking to take the hostage? Like there's an A-class shooter who is a cop who like has taken 3 hostage shots in his life. And then there's a GM who's never shot near another person. Who do you want to take the hostage shot when it's your son in their arms? In the bad guy.
in this case, we have a shooter that has like the minimum acceptable quality of shooting for this, right?
Yep. Yes.
So, but again, my problem with a lot of the training is I see, but in this instance, you are correct. But I'm trying to clarify here that I would take the guy who has experience doing that exact same thing, of course, right? But I also know that he has the requisite level of skill. What I see in a lot of these classes and some of these other things, not your classes specifically, but like with the Brazilian instructor running back and front of the firing line, to me, I'm like, who are these people? You like, to me, it's like these people do not have the minimum acceptable quality of skill to be on that fire in a live target, in a live fire with a live person in between them and a target.
About that specific video, right? So I've seen that video. This is not a new video. It's been around for a few years. The one that we're talking from Brazil, I believe is from Rio de Janeiro, whatever, one of their precincts or something like that, or maybe it's their special team. It doesn't matter, right? I actually, because I looked at it, I didn't like it. I thought the instructor's movements were not well calibrated based on even as simple as the hand positioning on the gun of some of the shooters. I go like, I think he's pushing a little bit too far, too fast. In principle, I have no problem with the drill. Execution, organization of the drill, I'm actually partially with you on that. But in principle, as far as what's being done in the drill, maybe I would look at organizing it and getting to know students a little bit better. Maybe I would give a little bit more finer tune-up on this or that before doing that. But I'm going to tell you something else. So that very drill has been done numerous times by one of the most respected instructors in the industry, not competition instructors. When he had an assistant instructor who's pretty universally loved in our industry, as far as at least on self-defense side, Paul Gomez, God rest his soul, he died a number of years ago because of health issues. He used to walk in front of shooting line in every single class while he was assistant instructor to one of the biggest, most successful, and longest running self-defense, weapon-based self-defense schools in this country. Witnessed it numerous times myself. Now, methodology of how the explanation was done and other precautions were taken was far superior to what we see in the video from Brazil. And some of the shooters actually in that class, I would say that they were not much better than the shooters that you see in that video from Brazil. But the logistics of the drill were much better fine-tuned. So to me, in principle, I have zero problems with the drill. Would I fine-tune it differently? Yes.
Right. And so this is, I think we've had this contention before, and I kind of want to end it here, and I want to give you guys a chance to shout out all your stuff and all that. And I really appreciate your time. But yeah, so I see this as these more specialized drills, in my opinion, seem to be for a shooter who has already possessed the requisite level of skill, right? And then you can do some of these wacky drills, and elite elements all over the world to do wackier drills that maybe aren't as accepted in like the normie civilian side on YouTube or whatnot, right? Of course. My problem is, again, my contention is that I think that these are for the shooters who have achieved 7, 8, 9, 10 level of skill versus like 2 or 3, right? So when I see lower end shooters, it does make me not less comfortable, because I'm not like uncomfortable, but I'm like, I just don't see the benefit of lower end shooters doing it, right?
I guess so. Stuff like this has to be gate kept to a certain extent, right? And so now
I think we're just arguing about the level of gatekeeping.
Right.
I think that's really it.
Yeah. So where you may say 7 and up, and maybe I think 5 and up. Again, I've seen drills like this in person. Like, trust me, I care about my life like more than adding range theatrics or anything like that. So like, I think I'm a pretty good judge of where that gate should be, being that I've run probably close to 1,000 students. If we're talking like a particular drill, like the one we saw from Praelectus in the beginning, like I think I'm a pretty good gauge of when that gate can be opened. Now, does that mean that like at the end of that class, Jay was like, you've reached the pinnacle, there's no getting better than you currently are? Of course not. So when the gate can be opened, I think is an interesting conversation to be had, and something that's a little hard to explain or know when someone has the maturity to at least start walking down that path as well, right? Because it's not like give up on hard skills and all the other types of training once you do this sort of drill. So I think we're in agreement more than we disagree. I think the only thing is, and
there's a visceral reaction
Yeah.
when people see what we do. There's a visceral reaction, and it's kind of like, I don't know, I guess if you never seen, or your only exposure is to whether it's a movie or a game or some surveillance video or whatnot of things happening in unexpected, unreasonably compressed and stressful circumstances. John, my guys do things against live blades. I put a live blade to their flesh, and they have to work from there. Has anyone been cut by me? No, not yet. Have things happened where it was a little nick here or there because they freaked out and they grabbed the fucking hand and then things happened? Yes. Yes, that is the part of our training where we go like, this is gonna get a little bit risky. Be very, very attentive. Don't work past your capabilities. Don't try to show off. This is not a competition. This is learning, exploring, understanding how the fuck you react to things that you have not been exposed to before. I can take you further after that if you're interested in doing that. You know, Lewis told me that you guys maybe were discussing or joking. I don't know if it was, you know, he goes like, hey, John said, you know, maybe we can meet up in person and take the class. And I said, fuck no, I'm not giving some guy free class. After talking to you, John, you know, I don't know about your yeah, sometimes I was reading comments because your dudes are fucking hilarious, man.
They're brutal, dude. Yeah, they do not let up.
I think if we remove the screen, the brutality level would change probably, but that's a separate issue, swinging dicks and all that, right? No, but dude, I appreciate as much as we fundamentally disagree on all that stuff, you know, and this is not to show how badass and how dangerous we are and how hardcore. I think there are places where maybe I can, you know, assist you in kind of moving your vantage point to see at least some value in limited capacity to what we do, you know, and actually over some beers or vodka or whatever, or some good whiskey or whatnot, you know. Yeah, I would like to pick master level shooters' brain about, you know, with what I do after certain transition or whatnot, how would you fine tune that speed, that accuracy or whatnot? You know what I mean? So if you ever, I don't know even where you live or whatnot, I'm not going to ask you because of doxing and all that shit, you know. But
I live in South Dakota. It's not a problem. People know where I live.
Okay, all right. Well, we are in East Texas here. We have a facility. It's a private range. It's not limited by any rules. I have guys coming in there with all kinds of class weapons that we're not going to talk about, and some of them are feds, and some of them are different people that should be called feds, but they're not because whatever. So we're allowed to do, and we do things there that, yes, going to your public range with the membership, you will not be able to do. And it's not, we don't do this for theatrics. Listen, I've been in 4 movies. I've been in countless TV shows. I've been involved in game developing because they wanted to use me as a freaking motion capture guy for this game that sold billion worth of fucking, you know.
It was COD 4, wasn't it? You were the
no,
body...
it was
Black
it was
Ops.
the
Black Ops
original
1.
Black Ops.
Oh, the original Black Ops. Sorry, you were the body model and the motion capture for all that stuff, right?
Not all
Yeah,
of them,
people-
but actually
people don't
some
know
of the
that,
people
yeah.
that you shoot in one operation, I'm still getting money. So if any of you guys that hate me, if they buy the original Black Ops and they go online,
Black Ops 1, there we go.
and in the 10th mission, in the bowels of the ship, every Russian guy you shoot has my face on it. My bank account fucking gets some input.
There we go. Heck yeah.
I
I'll
appreciate
have to
I
replay
appreciate the
Black
plug.
Ops 1. I appreciate that. No. Well, I mean, yeah, I watched the clip from Daylight's End today as well. The Final Stand, you know, because people are like, oh, it's a good movie. Check it out. It's actually free on YouTube. You can just go watch it. The whole thing is just uploaded to YouTube. You can go check it
I
out.
know.
Sonny's in there. Well, what would you guys like to shout out? Where can people find you? I'm going to link your website, sonnybuzikas.com, in the chat. The channel, Students of Violence, is pinned in the description. So you simply click on that link and it will take you directly over to their channel. If anything they said was of interest, go ahead, check them out, give them a like, share, follow, all of that fun stuff. But I'll let you guys have the floor. Anything you guys want to shout out here at the end, feel free. There were a lot of super chats and questions. Most of them are just jokes. If you guys want to stick around and answer some questions, if not, I'll get through them on my own here. And, you know, I really appreciate you guys taking your time to come on here, man.
Yeah, it's fine. My wife is out of town, so I don't have to go rush and go back
Yeah.
home. You know?
Okay.
And John, like, so yeah, that was a thing in one of the, you had a guy with a balaclava on, and you were talking, you were like,
Doesn't
man,
narrow it down. There's a couple of those guys that like to.
okay. He said something and you kind of threw it out there like, man, I'd go down and take a class, like see what it's about. Like,
Sure.
I'll still shoot well and, like, you know, do my thing to to do the things. And
well,
like,
that's what I'm curious about, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, do I use, some of the more unorthodox techniques, or do I just shoot how I know to shoot, and do I do it better this way, right?
I think and so I told Sonny, I was like, because he doesn't give out free classes. I think he kind of just offered you one though. But I said, like I would pay out of my own pocket to have you come down and take a class to experience it, because like you said, there's a perception on this stuff like it's for low skilled people and tourists, and like I would be very interested to hear an after action where we take an accomplished shooter who has a trusted voice, and like just be honest at the end of it, like what value you got out of doing things that maybe at first glance, the first time you saw it on the internet, looked a little range theatrical or crazy or scary, and there's plenty of good shooters. Like we can prove to you that we can shoot before we run drills like this and stuff like that. But I and drills are optional, man. So, but I think that would be a really cool, like having this discussion there. It seems like there's so much that we would all agree about. It would be interesting, very interesting to me to hear your after action report taking a class that's a little outside of the norm.
But if it's a no, it's okay too, John. You know what I mean? Our
Well,
feelings,
here's the thing:
my feelings are
you
certainly
don't
not
even
hurt.
have to offer me a free class. Like I know it's going to be worth its weight in gold just for the video and live stream alone, right? So you don't have to entice me, okay? Because I think it would be fun. I think it would be like, even if I hate it, it's still going to be entertaining, right? And it's at the end of the day, we're just hanging out, shooting, and doing, and it's trying different stuff. Like it's fine. I don't mind.
Well, that's the like if you could name one thing.
Wait, as long as I don't have to stand in front of the target, okay? That's my only
No.
thing. Is as long as I'm not the one standing in front of the target. Yeah, okay, we're good.
But I will stand next to the target when you shoot him, John.
Fair enough.
If you could narrow down at least one pillar.
That's my blood memory from Black Ops 1 is going to kick in, and I'm going to accidentally shoot you. So,
That's the problem. I'm gonna have to put like MAGA shirt or something for you not to shoot me, right?
yeah.
Or you're right, mitigate risk. So we'll just put the target between me and Josh.
Yes.
This
No,
way
just-
you don't
just
have a black ops.
As long as you're wearing
Flashback.
white, that's all I need to know. I just don't shoot the white ones. That's all I know. It's
Okay.
kind of racist, but yeah, just don't shoot the white ones. That's all I know.
But if I had to narrow down a pillar of part of why like coming to class makes sense, like some of this is experiential knowledge, and part of the difference between like we were talking about like different skill levels of dudes in the parking lot. The elimination of novelty is a big drive behind this. So that's a big part of what's going on. And as far as, different mindsets, people self-select into this. So if they feel that they're not an accomplished shooter, or if they don't feel that they're ready for it, that's fine. And then as they come in, there's sort of a filtering process of, when this gets implemented. But after that novelty is eliminated, that's where you can start to build that confidence in your abilities in that realm, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, trying new things, might be a little uncomfortable, but that's part of life, so I don't mind it. But yeah, is there anything else you guys want to shout out before we move into super chats? And again, if any of you guys have to take off, I do not hold it against you. We've already been going for over 2 hours, and there's 120 questions or 120 snide comments to get through.
Yeah.
I read through some of those snide comments. I will gladly report. No, I will not say freaking N words.
Yeah, my chat will ask you to do awkward. They'll ask for your toes. They'll ask for all sorts of weird things. Okay,
come in person. I'll tell you words that you haven't heard before, but you definitely won't come in person because you have an excuse because I'm dangerous and I shoot people and all that. So you know what? Stick your balls up your butt and disappear. So yeah, I don't need any plugs, John, and I appreciate the opportunity. I was kind of like, I wasn't like be skeptical or optimistic or whatnot about this happening. I'm like, I mean, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I'm okay to talk. I really didn't have any like care one way or the other. But videos that you made about my drills, I'm like, all right, the guy's a little bit of a douche. But
Yes,
I get it.
sir.
You have
Guilty.
50,000. You have 50,000 plus followers, and I read your followers' comments. I'm like, dude, to keep these assholes happy, you have to be. You know what I mean? And you're doing a great job, because to entertain that crowd, man, I would have to drink more than Matt Frank. Right?
Are they assholes because I'm an asshole, or because they're assholes? Am I?
It's
I don't know. I don't know.
It's the chicken or the egg. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I really, it doesn't matter. But as I said, if I had to handle the crowd that you're handling, I would drink more than Matt Frank, dude. You know what I mean? And that would be terrible news, let me tell you. So anyway, from my perspective, I appreciate you don't need to do any plugs or whatnot. None of the guys that watch this or listen will come to my training. So I'm not even trying to sell this. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this is conversation between you and us. As much as I appreciate all the people that watching, it's all good. You guys, Elcar Concepts, the new company that Louis and Josh are starting. Yes, they're not gonna do all the crazy shit that I do. They're gonna work in their own direction. They're not my pawns. They're not my anything. They study with me. They're learning. They have their own views. Our views not always the same. You know what I mean? I don't need blind fucking followers. I don't need some cock rider fans or whatnot. I don't care, dude. I'm too old. I've seen enough. I have kids to raise, wife to love, books to write, books to read, church to attend, good steak to eat, sushi, that kind of shit. You know what I mean? My life is simple. But so guys, put the plugs for yourselves, and we'll stay for the funny answers if we need to answer some funny shit.
No real plugs needed. Like I said, the new company is called Elcar Concepts, so that's Lone Civilian Armed Responder, right? Because that's what we are. And so everything is through that lens, right? I wasn't a cool guy kicking down doors and like murdering mud farmers wholesale. So I don't know anything about that, or I've never had to put anybody in cuffs, but like I'm in charge of keeping my family safe, right? And the people around me. So that's the lens everything is looked through for Elcar Concepts. So the YouTube channel.
I looked for a website. Is there a website or a YouTube channel?
Not yet. That it's all this is like early SHOT Show. It'll be Q2.
Right, of course. Yeah, coming soon.
Yep.
For the low price of $99.99.
That's right.
All right. Well, I really
we'll
appreciate
stay for
gentlemen.
the questions, because there are people that are
here
asking
we go.
me to
I'm gonna try and get through these fast. Okay, so
Go for it.
Sabardic Psycho for 2 says, John, all dressed up for prom. Yeah, I decided to buy a couple suits for SHOT Show because I'm going to SHOT Show this year. So I was like, yeah, wear one for stream. Why not? I'll be professional for once.
Let's get a beer one night. Circle Bar.
I would, but I don't drink.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. But I'm fine to hang out or do whatever. I'll
Okay,
be there
now
all
I
5 days.
understand where all the problems started. What the fuck?
is
I'm not
Elcar
relaxed
leather?
enough, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I am sorry, Josh. There are a lot of mean comments towards you. If you want me to skip
Oh, yeah.
them,
No, do
No, hit it.
all right, here we go. Lightsport for 2 says they got Tubby on too. Now they could be referring to me. I'm a man of size as well, so I'm not sure. Jose Vasquez, member for 5 months, says finally got them on the show. How can I be violent?
Hey, that's our kind of question.
Well, there's a class tomorrow. FocusTripp's wife for 5 says FocusTripp has got the Focus drip on. I'm one lucky wife. Well, at least one half of the lucky wives. Yes, that is.
Is that really your wife?
That's my wife in the chat. So there
That's
are many
pretty cool,
meme
dude.
accounts. There are many meme accounts. There's actually 2 FocusTripp wives accounts.
Yeah.
The Lightsport for 2 says students of violence. The only thing middleman is violent to is the all-you-can-eat buffet. Ah,
Actually, let me respond to that one really quick, John. I will give that dude a free class. I'm not gonna touch him. I'm gonna let him and Josh discuss that.
they're gonna do the touching.
You have a free $600 class without me ever touching you. Come
You
on.
hear that, Lightsport? You're getting touched.
We can wrestle.
For 5 says, Buddy shot someone in his class. Why do we care what these fuds have to say?
Yeah, buddy, you also shat your pants about 50 times. Why do I care what you have to say about what happened to me and mistakes I made in my life?
Boom, roasted. TK's Tiny Peen for 5 says he can't hear you because of all of the tactical excellence in their room. Yeah, that was the audio. It must have been on my end. I left and came back, so that wasn't your guys' fault because the stream could hear you.
Now, someone did call me a boomer for not managing StreamYard correctly. Just throwing it out there.
No, they should know by now. The show is always late, and I blame Richard, who's my co-host usually, but it's usually my fault. Sabartic Psycho for 2 says, you guys really prepared for this?
Yes, no, so this was the question when we came in and there was audio problem, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah. Everyday American for 5 says, bro sounds like he got yelled at by his dad and has to explain why he shot his mate. Whoa.
I mean, I can tell you a little bit about my dad. He did 7 years in the prison because he shanked somebody coming back from work when 2 guys with a screwdriver actually attacked him and his coworker. He took the screwdriver and killed one of the guys. He did 7 years in prison, got early release for good behavior. He was also an alcoholic and very physically abusive to my mom. When I came back from military, I knocked him the fuck out and sent him to hospital. And then shortly after I immigrated to the United States, he got Lyme disease from a tick bite, and I never saw him again. So if you want to talk about that shit in person, dude, come see me.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
I'll tell you more stories about it if you know that little bitch, whoever it was that commented, wants to talk about that.
I do have to answer the poll though. Okay, so
Sure,
is FocusTripp wearing pants? 94% said no, and they're correct. I'm wearing shorts.
Oh shit! Now I feel gay, man.
I have basketball shorts on. Yeah, no pants. It's comfy. Okay, it's hot in here. TK's Tiny Peen says, Luis, where did you do your prison time?
Never prison. I did go to an Ivy League school. I commercial fished, and I ran a hotel outside of New York City, but never been in prison, never arrested.
Yeah, I mean, you don't look. This isn't an insult. Don't look like somebody who would have gone to prison. Like you look like normal. Like you look like if you told me you were an operator, I'd be like, yeah, he's got the beard. He has the look. Normal. Lightspore for 2 says, at least Trench isn't fat, unlike someone. This is the same guy. Lightspore's getting touched.
Dude,
I know he's getting touched, man.
I want to know, Lightsport, why is it not a picture of you in your like little thumbnail thing there? Is
something
there
about
some projection going on?
No,
something
I bet
about
you
throwing stones in glass houses.
Yeah.
If we did some KGB shit and stole his phone, I'll bet you he has like 8,000 pictures of ultra fat women. I think he has a factory. I think he actually likes you. He tries to seduce you.
Hey,
So
come
yes,
out.
reverse psychology. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Axegrind says, looking forward to hear from this. Great to hear from Sonny.
I appreciate
That's
that.
Axegrind.
I don't know who the guy is, but I appreciate that.
He's one of the older gentlemen is the wrong word, but he's a GWAT vet in our community, and he's appreciated your work.
So he's an adult, actually, right?
Yes, very adult, much more so than the rest of the chat.
This guy's dropping a bunch of money to talk shit. Wow.
They I don't know why they do this, but they do. Everyday American for 5 says safer and decided to go train with these dudes. I'd rather be on the street patting down tweakers who want to kill me.
You are correct, sir.
Hey, I've been there.
You are
Like-
correct. None of that matters. You are correct. Tweakers, druggies, bikers, you are much safer with them than you are with me. You are correct, sir.
Go do it tonight.
Go do it.
Yeah. FocusTripp's wife for 5 says, good sirs, don't read the comments. The chat is always feral. Doing great, Pookies of Violence. Aw,
Cookies of violence. I like
Pookies of
that.
Violence.
That's cute. I appreciate that.
That's cute. Thank you. Everyday
Miss Wife.
Everyday for 5 says, took some of the best training in the world, and this is what he took from it. Please.
I don't know what he means.
I'm not sure.
The same
Oh, it's the $5 dude?
Yeah, talking about me getting all that training with well,
I think
hey,
so.
Man, if you walked a mile in my shoes, you might end up in the same spot.
TK's Tiny Peen for 5 says, does it technically become a triangle jerk because there's only 3 of them?
Well,
why
he would
are you
actually.
being so gay, TK? That's my question.
I don't
His
know.
name's TK's Tiny Peen.
That's fair. That's fair. You've got Peen on
Oh,
the
I
mind.
understand now because he's jealous because it's triangle, so it's 3, and his dick is so small. He needs a tricep,
Yeah.
to jerk it.
Yeah,
Got it.
actually, we were
Got
getting
it.
ready to airtight your sister, but
Oh, whoa. Saddam Hussein, Bog Enjoyer for 2 says Diddy boned trench grenade. So something else that always happens in this chat is trench grenade gets crapped on no matter what the topic is. Like it
Well,
doesn't matter what it is.
he's
Trench grenade
kind of a dick. He's kind of a dick. Like
he was in here earlier, actually. I don't know if he's still
Like-
here now, but he was in the chat earlier. I saw him here.
kind of a dick.
He was
Like
talking some
trying to
shit
use the name tactical response to get a whole bunch of views. Like at first he made a video that was kind of pro tactical response, seemed like maybe he was trying to gain some of the tactical response like alumni as followers or subscribers, and then when that video maybe didn't do so hot, then he went in attack mode to attack Praelectus training, which has nothing to do with the tactical response, but he mentioned tactical response because they have a bigger name than him. Like he's kind of a dick.
So
And
I've
he
had-
probably doesn't know how he would feel if he didn't have breakfast.
Hey, why didn't you ask me about breakfast, man?
Well, because they answered it. They did it. Lewis did it correctly the first time. So I mean, if you failed
Oh,
it
so that
after he
makes-
did it correctly,
So that made all 3 of us non-retards.
well, not by definition, but you'd be cheating off of his homework, right? So I can't
see.
confirm now. I have to come up with a different question. But no, if you follow Trench's channel, which I'm subscribed to his channel, I talk to Trench relatively frequently. The man is a hot take machine. Okay, if clickbait was a USPSA or a sport, he would be a grandmaster. Okay,
You would have
I get
stolen
it.
the valor
Yeah,
already?
because
I didn't say that.
if intelligence was the metric, he wouldn't be doing anything. So yeah, like, but that's what I'm saying. He goes for rage bait and clickbaity stuff, but pulls on some strings that like a reasonably intelligent person wouldn't do.
Everyday American again for 2 says old buddy in the middle has never missed a meal.
I missed one this morning,
I
brother.
actually missed one this morning.
Wait, question. How did it make you feel?
Well, I decided to feel more like Pranka and have like 6 beers immediately as soon as we got home.
There you go. There you go. TK's tiny Peen for 2 says, I moved to Texas to be closer to Sunny. Rainbow emoji.
Yeah,
Back-
I mean, it was all about my big Russian dick, man. I mean, I can't hide it.
Whoa, that's how much is
It's-
that class?
It's a big slot. Tiny Pin cannot afford it. I can tell you that much. Right? This is not even a conversation.
TK's tiny
I don't
Peen
talk.
again
I don't
says,
talk to pores. Okay.
oh, there you go. Says we kind of knew you dry manipulate. We were talking about dry fire earlier, so yeah. Thank you, TK. Bandalay from 5 says, I joined late. Who are these dudes? Is this a Make-A-Wish thing for the Caillou looking guy on the right? Ouch. Okay, so do you guys know Caillou is a bald children's show? So the kid, like the lore of the show is kind of dark. He's like a kid going through chemo, and it's like his little adventures and stuff like that. So it's like a children's show, though. So it's
So
like
I look
lighthearted
like
and
so
silly.
I look like a kid that goes through chemo.
No, but that's the thing, Sonny. Like Josh is more bald than you are. So
I know, and he's half my age.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm
That's
getting close.
Shut the fuck up.
Saddam Hussein is back again for 2 says trench grenade takes Diddy money to shill for Ruger.
I believe that.
Well,
Is that,
actually,
is that breaking news, Saddam?
one of his video titles is the Glock Gen 6 is a trash RXM clone, trash Ruger RXM clone. So
Wait a second now. What
maybe-
happens about those who are still pimping SIG after the whole 320 shit?
I think it's just GBRS group because they lost their 2
No,
pro shooters.
man. There's more than that GBRS.
Dude, you know Trench is trying to get a fucking check from him. He's like, please, come on, I'll tell everybody it's
Hey,
safe."
he's just got to go kiss the wall and they'll give you 7K. Okay, just do that. It's way easier. It's way easier to make the money. Okay, not that I would know, but I'm just saying. Prepared Father for 2 says, Sonny, what's your recommendations for cuck chairs? This is a meme
man,
account.
The one your dad sat on.
Oh, whoa, got him. That was good. That was good. See, these guys are funny. Todd for 2 says, this is too civil. Start calling each other slurs. Yeah,
Well,
you know,
shit, dude.
I like to joke around, but when people come on, like I like to just have a conversation, right? We're just talking. We're gonna try and get my points across, but it's a conversation. And then the audience can do all the mean things for me. Okay.
Right. I see that.
Lightsport for 2 says middle dude can probably talk a lot about donuts.
No.
Yeah.
I'll actually
actually
talk
that-
a lot more about donuts than Josh with that donut of death reticle.
Oh,
Another
there you go.
interesting thing we could explore when you come down.
Ooh, exploring donuts when I come down is not a great phrase. So Badam Hussein Enjoy for 2 says Trench is Diddy's Justin Bieber at Ruger HQ. Whoa.
I stopped studying.
Dude, I like that guy.
He's being funny.
Hold on. I'm gonna show you guys. Remember?
Yes.
So, John, I spoke to my guys earlier a little bit about, when it was confirmed that this is going on. I just wanted to show you what we'll put in front of TV.
Let me
So that's been on the monitor.
mega base. We really appreciate that around here. Christ is indeed king. We appreciate that. So thank you. Very, very base of you. Even if we disagree on other ancillary things, that's the most
This was
important
just
thing
a
anyways.
reminder to try to stay not butthurt when people say shit and not
Yeah.
retaliate in the same.
Listen, they said some unhinged things. So you guys kept your composure, and we still have a lot of composure to keep throughout this because we still have 105 comments.
Oh shit.
Dude, I don't. If you guys need to take off, like
No,
I will
no.
get through these.
Oh,
But
this is great.
Lightsport for 2 says Wings needs to be a good student at the gym, and I believe he's. Do you know who Wings of Redemption is?
No.
Okay, good. It's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down. Basically, he's just an obese loser, so he's comparing you to that, not being very nice.
Damn.
Cool, man. Josh is becoming popular.
Very popular. Geez. Fresh Pinochet, member for 9 months, says, "Hey, prove the tie is not a clip-on." No, I tie these myself, man. I used to work a job, so I worked high-end sales out of college, and I had to work wear a suit and tie. That was always fun, but I just haven't in like a decade. Thank you, Pinochet.
I was in protection business for over 10 years, and I had to wear a suit and tie too, man. I know how to tie a
Little different genre. What was your carry gun doing security?
Always Glock.
Oh, Scott. FocusTripp's wife for 5 says middle Pookie loves the shirt, but the font is the most undangerous font thing that I've seen. I've heard papyrus is popular. Yeah, that
Yeah, I
stay
didn't make the
dangerous
shirt.
is very flowery. It's very eloquent for stay dangerous.
That was kind of the point. That's a tactical response shirt.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, if it looks like ninja writing, then it defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it's a little cringe, like death metal writing or whatnot. So
That's why I never go to the SHOT Show anymore, ever.
I mean, it's if you want to go to a Diddy party, that's the place to go. Saddam Hussein Pogendroid for 2 says, I have a black people slur to say. That's not very nice of you, Saddam. Although, does Saddam Hussein have the pass? Is he black? No, he's Arab.
Well, he would
You
be
can't.
called a desert wigger.
Oh,
Right?
right, yes.
Right.
An Axe Grind for 2 says, practice outside of your comfort zone, experts. Yeah, I think that's good advice for everybody.
I'm sure it was sarcastic. I'm sure it was sarcastic.
Axe Grind's got your back. He's got your back. FocusTripp's wife for 5 says, Sonny, is like this chat bedtime stories not dangerous enough?
No, man, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Lil Booty Fart for 2, great name, says Sonny's head shape looking real Minnesota immigrant. No, I think you are ethnically Russian, correct?
I'm actually half Lithuanian, half Russian.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I think he's saying you look Somali, but I don't see it. You look Slav.
Oh, I can give you some fucking Mogadishu love like you'll never fail.
Lightsport for 2. I don't know what Mogadishu love is, but I'm gonna stay away from that. Lightsport for 2 says, I want Tubby to be crying by the end of stream. Damn, Lightsport. You are getting touched.
He only put $2, you cheap ass bitch. Put on
well, it
grand.
adds up. It adds
Put
up.
on
Right?
couple grand. I take half of it. I'll hit him so hard he will cry. Everybody wins.
$2,000. He punches Josh right now.
There you go.
$1,000 check is heading his way. Art Vandalay for 2 says, first of all, Christ is Lord, not a philosopher. Well, so I do think earlier you mentioned Jesus in the same phrase as Seneca and Aristotle in terms of philosophers.
Yeah, that was Art Vandelay not having a full mastery of the English language. He said, I can have philosophical talks if you want to talk Jesus, Seneca, so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
so art, I mean, there is an art, no pun intended, to actually having fucking ears and hearing what's actually being said instead of being like that bitch on TV where with Jordan Peterson, she says, so what you're saying is,
Yeah.
all right?
Well,
But
so
yes,
what you're
Christ
saying
is
is what
Lord.
you're saying is Vandelay is not a GM listener.
No.
No.
Todd Dogs for Two says, Sunny, mad respect for Daylights and you guys rock. Thank you, Todd Dogs.
Tell them go watch The Brave. It's a lot more gunplay in that one.
The Brave, check it out. Saddam Hussein Poggendorf for Two says, Vickers did this drill with Russian FSB. So
no,
yeah, there
he
was
didn't do the drill. He stood there while the Russian guys did it.
right. So they were doing a demonstration, and this is something that I don't know if it's just culturally, but yeah, America seems to be, or the West in general, seems to be less open to this style of training, whereas Eastern, South American, some of these other guys seem to like do more of it, I guess.
So one of our friends, somewhat of a mentor to me, Super Dave Harrington. I don't know if the name rings any bells with you.
Yeah, I've seen him before.
Like he ran shit like that, and he was in charge of teaching all the ninja dudes. So like place called, I think it's called Range 37, where all the cool guys go and do cool guy stuff. Like Super Dave was in charge there, and he did all this stuff. So yes, R.I.P.
Yes,
Super
rest
Dave.
in peace. Lightsport for Two says, safe to say, middleman never made SWAT because of PT. Lightsport has not given up.
Yeah.
That's a lot in a row. So I did train with SWAT when I 2016. So that was 10 years ago. Like, okay.
I mean, I don't know that gentleman, but we have this one little drill that's only 60-second drill. It's called 2-5.
Yeah, beat Josh's revolver score.
Beat Josh's revolver score with your high-speed gun running the 2-5 drill.
Let's see what your
heart down range.
Let's see what your heart rate's at.
I'll buy you a fucking omakase dinner.
There you go, Lightsport.
Yeah,
Slimy Chud.
John and the Three Stooges. That's good, man. I like that.
Lightsport for Two. He's not says middleman. I need some bulking tips.
Do I know that guy or something?
I think he's
okay.
Like,
so
what?
you have to understand. I think a Lightsport. He's been around a while, and I'm like, he donates a lot. So I'm maybe a little biased here, but I think he just picks somebody out, and he's like, you're my target now. He's still super chatting. He's still in the chat right now, super chatting.
I'm glad it's making you money, but like,
yeah,
I'm gonna send some of it. I'm gonna buy you a dinner. He's being so mean to you. Jeez.
Tell him to up it to 5 per at least.
Yeah, it's got to be 5 per minimum. And right boy for Two says, missed the beginning. What happened? You each got to rewatch it, man. $2 is not enough for a recap.
No.
But I appreciate it. Thank you, right boy. Son of Mandalore for Two says, what's good about this training?
The answer. Don't use caps if you're looking for an answer.
Thank you for that. Saddam Hussein Poggendor says, Spetsnaz do some crazy training and drills. So do you think that did you get training over in Russia and then you kind of ported that from your experiences there to America? And does that kind of influence your opinion on training, what you should and should not be doing, some of the drills, that sort of stuff?
Okay, so this is actually a serious question, and this is where a lot of misconceptions happen. People go like, anything that this fucking Puzikas guy does is crazy Spetsnaz training. I'll tell you right now, guys, less than 20% of what I do comes directly from my training in the units. The rest of it is some kind of a hybrid of things. I was explaining to guys today, I get a lot of calls, still regularly do, from some Russian dudes, from my old comrades. They're not very respectful the way they talk about Americans, and they say, why are you teaching this shit and doing that? And I go like, because I live here, because this is my home now, and this is what I do. But no, 80% of what I teach is it influenced by the certain, way of thinking and looking at problem solving. Yeah. But it's not like some kind of direct drills that everyone in Spetsnaz does or whatnot. So that's a little bit of fucking street legend. It's bullshit.
Fair enough. Good to know. Sabartic Noticer for 5 says, I don't know what we're talking about, but my arc fire works. Everyone on the panel say something true about minorities. I didn't say nice. Yeah, I mean, you guys do not have to say anything if you don't want to. I'll say something true. They seem to be committing a lot of fraud in Minnesota right now. All right, upwards of 8 billion. That's what I'll say.
Puerto Rican chicks could probably get a golf ball to come through a garden hose.
Fair enough.
Anything about minorities?
There's a lot.
The wise man.
There's a lot.
The only thing I know that, like the Southern Mexicans, actually have more in common with them than the snow Mexicans.
Snow Mexicans? What the heck is a snow Mexican?
It's a fucking Canadians.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Frostbacks.
dude. Sorry,
Yeah,
my
the
bad.
frostbacks.
Frostback. Back to Canuckistan. Everyday American for 5 says, if I had a nickel for every name they dropped, I'll listen to the Delta dudes and world champions for my training, not to rejects and wings of redemption. Ouch.
You're all right, sir. You do that.
Do you, man?
Everyday American back end says it doesn't even look cool. LOL.
You are correct, sir.
Saddam Hussein for 2 says Marines love Thai ladyboys.
I heard that.
Yeah, I'm not even on the stream.
Marines catching
Marines
flags.
sitting here. Come on. Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you have students that look that good?
I'm gonna cover up anyway.
Check that there and check that here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Tell them what you think. Perfect.
That's all I got.
So what about the Thai lady boys?
And John,
I don't want to talk about them.
John,
Bad memories.
Thailand is fucking weird.
and John, for the comment before that, when you and I run the drill, it'll look fucking way cooler, dude. Highlight reel shit, hero shots. And we'll have one of these knuckleheads standing downrange so they get the good fucking hero shots, the brass flying out.
That's right. Lightsport for 2 says middleman orders DoorDash on credit. Ouch. Now he's calling you poor. That is a good burn, though. That is a good burn.
Local DoorDash, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Lightsport, how do you order DoorDash with cash?
Got him. Subarctic Noticer for 2 says pointing guns at people is cool. What's the problem?
Based.
Based. Prepared Fathers back says 2. Mine's Brazilian. Whatever. Prepared Father. That's just a meme account. Pay no attention to that, man. Thank you. Everything for 5 says dudes who stack more bodies than the middle guy's weight in pounds have said this is moronic, and after experiencing it in real life, your argument is done.
Yeah.
Everyday American. I'm sure you're one of those dudes that
Awesome.
stacked bodies.
Yeah.
Keep donating $5. John is so lucky to have you.
Keep listening to Pranka over Haley, right? If you want to talk those type dudes, like listen to the Pranka Haley podcast. You'll see.
Did they do a podcast together? Was that a
Yeah.
while ago?
Yeah, it was a live. I think an Instagram live. You can find it on YouTube.
Okay, I'll have to watch that again because I think I've seen that before. Thank you, Everyday American. Saddam Hussein says Russians literally fight bears. This is normal. Well, it can be
the other day. I was like, is this the shortcut?
Dogwater Dale for 5 says these guys have full-blown Down syndrome. This is all cope and gay. Ouch, Dogwater. You're mean.
You're right.
You're right. Sure.
We're special.
Yeah, very special. Huge Ass for 2 says white Somali on the right end of the panel. Wow, why he doesn't look Somali? You guys, unbelievable. You never seen a slap before? What's your problem? Saddam for 2 says I'll take Sonny over Trench. There we go.
Damn.
Smart. Yeah, I don't know for what, but
Well,
probably made the right choice.
take the compliments where you can get them. All right.
Unless you need someone to yell at you for blousing your boots wrong.
Is that what they do?
Uh,
Yeah.
Or
Well,
pants?
Army, I think they just tuck them in.
Whatever.
Dogwater Dale is back. Says, "Is this how Ben Steger got so good at shooting?"
Probably
No,
not.
no. He just did the thing over and over and over again. That's how you get better at stuff. Thank you, Dogwater Dale. Spartak Notice It for 2 says, "More like Sunny under trench. Am I right?" I don't know what he means by that.
Me neither. But he gave you $2. God bless.
Yeah, thank you for the $2. Appreciate that. The light sport for 2 says Sonny trained the guy who killed Chris Kyle. that's
No.
wild.
No, I mean it's hey, listen, man. I've been on the same TV show with the guy who blew up the Tesla in Las Vegas, so maybe
yes.
maybe
Actually,
there is a case.
You know what's funny? We watched that episode with Tim Kennedy was on there.
Yeah.
And then is Leifesberger the gentleman Blooms? Yeah. We actually watched that episode.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
the KGB thing is real, man.
That's a weird one, isn't it? That is a weird one. Saddam for 2 says, "Ask Sonny about the new AK round." Sonny, are you a big AK guy? I mean, I saw when I was looking at some of your earlier content, I saw you and Jim Fuller had a podcast together. But do you have any thoughts on the updated AK round that's coming out? It's like a 6mm something or other.
Yeah, I believe it's like 6 point something or some 6.08. I just heard about it.
Yes.
I have no ideas about it, dude. As a matter of fact, like these dudes come to class and I'm so behind on the gear. I'm not absolutely a gear whore. I don't know the latest, greatest. I'm like fucking 4 years. I'm still using the typewriter. You know what I'm saying? And I don't give a shit about any of that. If I get my hands on it and touch it and all that, I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, well, there it is. You can't get that rifle. You can't get that round. And by the way, you're naked now. Can you fucking fight? Shut up.
Well, question on that though, for all the gear queers in the chat, all right, AR or AK, Sonny?
Either. I mean, I can show you the picture right now next to my bed in my house. I have a rack on the wall. It's actually quite sexy, and there's 2 ARs and 2 AKs on it.
Fair enough. All right. Lightsport for 2 says the average student is definitely wide. If you know, you know. Lightsport. Moonman for 5, our resident federal agent, says, "I respect the guy who looks like he isn't allowed near schools, informing us that he is dangerous."
I'm assuming that's about Josh, right?
Could be about me. Who the fuck knows? They thought I went to jail.
Moonman is an equal opportunity offender. Saddam says, "I love Sunny and tacos." Thank you for the 2, Saddam.
Man,
appreciate that.
we about to do like that fucking. Wasn't that on the South Park where Saddam was having Saddam and Devil were having sex or something, right? So we can hook up, man.
Overthrown his country.
Yeah.
Are you the devil in this analogy? Because that's heresy of some sort. That's not. Moonman just kidding. Moonman for 5 says, "Putting military action professional on my resume unironically."
Cool, man. $5.
Chud for 2 says, "Post practice score." Do you guys ever run USPSA competitions or any local comps of any?
I have.
Do you think that they have any value for some people, or do you think that it's a useful part of training?
Yeah, I think they have value.
Some. It's not a competition will get you killed in the streets kind of thing, but it is a completely different skill set. To be good at the game, you have to play the game, right? And not belittling it by calling it game, but it just factually, like, to play a sport, you must be good within the rules of that sport. And that's not necessarily what we look to do. I did shoot a season of IDPA like before I really started training. Like after that first class that I took at Tactical Response, I was still, living in Connecticut, and I shot a season of IDPA at a local place. I never went to travel matches. I did finish the season 0 down. And when someone who had just shot 2 hostages told me that I needed to just let them fly to get my score better, I realized it wasn't really for me.
I got you. Yeah, some people don't like that aspect of it, but that's not to go on this tangent for too long, but that's what I like about it is a game. And so like failure in the game is fine. You can do it. It's okay, right? So you can find out where your limit is, basically. That's what I like.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I'm like pieing a corner of the cover, like, you know, minimal exposure, like taking a minute to shoot a stage that other people are taking 14 seconds. And like, they kind of didn't love that, but I wanted to play it that way to get benefit from it. Like, originally, like Ken Hackathorn says, you know, no stage walks. Like, there shouldn't be stage walks. But then people were just climbing up on top of the berms with binoculars and looking down. So then they allowed stage walks. But without the stage walk,
you can modify the training however you want, right? So for some people, like there's a competition put on by Delta 34. It's called Ridge Racer, and it's blind stages, and it's
Cool.
like it's like obstacle courses mixed in with a bunch of other things. And there are a few like blind stage courses where it's like you have your setup, you have your rifle, you have your pistol, you have all the ammo that is on you, and then it's like you're gonna go do like 6-7 really weird wacky stages, all blind, and do it that way, right? And so there's different ways to play games, right? So USPSA to me is like a drag race, okay? Fastest, most accurate. That's all that matters. You can do the other tactical stuff. You can do the tactical games where it's CrossFit plus guns, right? And I do like their games and their training programs, and there's like ways to be specifically good at each one.
Yep.
So I like to use it all. Lightsport for 2 says he waddled some drills, not ran. Thank you, Lightspore. Moonman for 5 says, whoa, oh, finally, somebody's being mean to me. Whoa, is this an interview? I should have worn a gay suit also. Damn, my suit's not gay.
Dude.
Hey, but he gave you $5.
Yeah, he gave me $5. It's fine. It's Moonman. Joshua Howard became a new member. Appreciate that, sir. Moonman back again says, starting a fund to send Randy to Sonny's class.
Who is
That could be
Randy?
fun. Randy's he's rotund gentleman would be a nice way to put it. He's he's on his downward arc. He's getting himself back into shape, but he's a YouTuber. He does gun reviews and stuff like that, but he's a shooter. So, I mean,
Dude, do it. Start the fun. Get it done.
well, that would be funny if I'm going down there. Maybe Randy should go with me. Ton Dogs for 2 says, John, learn how to tie a tie for F's sake. Also, and I only tie a tie one way, so maybe I'm not the best at it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you, Ton Dogs. Moonman for 2 says, the real is who's the bald head is more lucky to rub. Oh, whose bald head is more lucky to rub? I'm saying Josh's. I think Josh's is the most lucky.
Probably, I think, to actually physically rub on Sonny's head, like you gotta sneak up on it.
That requires some luck in the first place. So you have to rub Josh's head to be able to rub Sonny's head.
Yeah, you'll be out of luck by the time you start rubbing.
Paulie B for 20 says, patience of a saint, John. This is usually how I do interviews or talks, is I let the other guy, I try not to interrupt. I just let them, everybody gets their chance to talk, and we're not like in a time rush, unless the guest has to leave or something. So thank you for that, Paulie. That is very, very kind of you. Thank you for the $20, sir. Moonman for 5 says, paying to send Randy, Trench, and Jake's dogs, but not the rest of him, to Sonny's class. We could make a focus trip, field trip out of it. We'll take like 6 guys down. Thank you, Moonman. Vandalay for 2 says, the lion does not shoot at inanimate targets. Right, only live targets. Thank you, Vandalay. Chud for 2 says, women can be police officers. That's half the issue.
Not wrong.
Well, that's the thing with the women, is when they run out of tools, which is, their physicality and their taser, that might be a gun, then yeah, the gun is their ultimate option. Thank you, Chud. Lightsport for 2 says, the tubby bad cop is the guy in the middle, though.
Bad cop?
Who's the good
Where
one?
did you get that?
You're the good cop. Sonny's the bad cop, right? That's
I'm not
that's
even
the
a
role
cop, man. I would not survive on
well,
this job
no,
for a
you
minute.
talked about a torture house earlier, so you would be the bad cop, Sonny. You would be the torturer, and then Josh would be the good cop. It's like, listen, man, come on, we can be done. You just need to give him what he wants, all right? Moonman for 5 says, I agree. I wish I could put 3 randos in front of me when I do my qual. I only miss one on purpose anyways. That was when we were talking about police quals and putting 3 people. Yeah, that was fun. Axel Ryan for 2 says, show the Larry Vickers Russian pistol drill. Well, we are
We-
approaching
We've
3
seen
hours,
that
sir.
video.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
not
it's-
rare.
everybody-
It's got millions of views. Everybody's seen it. Huge Ass for 2 says women as cops, those two should never coincide. Thank you, Huge Ass. Subarctic Psycho for 5 says left and middle guy blink twice if Sonny is holding you at gunpoint. Yeah, there's actually a gun
Not
under the
currently.
table.
Not for a couple hours at least.
That's tomorrow's drills. Thank you, Subarctic. Amorite for 2 says, I bet $20 he can't do the backflip hawk throw.
Hey, listen, Amari boy. If you think $20, this is for some cheap hoe on the corner. You want to bet anything on me? It starts with 4 zeros, brother. Don't even fucking go there. I told these guys, you want to see me doing fucking karaoke dressed as Britney Spears? 20 grand, you get your
Ooh.
wish.
All right. 20 grand. We know, that was a number I didn't expect to know. I didn't expect to know how much it would cost to get you doing karaoke dressed as Britney Spears, but now I know $20,000.
And you're welcome for that image, John. You're gonna sleep well.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's like, things I didn't need for 500. Lightsport for 2 says middle doesn't know about this quote unquote physical activity. Damn, Lightsport is not giving it up. Thank you,
He's
Lightsport.
just making money for you. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see if he can hold a plank longer than Josh.
Right.
Amrite Boy for 2 says bring Pranka on right now.
And what's gonna happen if you do?
I think, well, knowing Pranka, because I've met Pranka in real life. I was at a class with him and Ben Stager down in Las Vegas last year, or actually earlier this year in January. I think it would become a yelling match. I think that's usually how that goes, which could be fun.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
Yeah.
I
Thank you,
yelled with the
Amrite Boy.
best of them.
It's like, because I didn't have breakfast.
He wants a second shot at that question. Huge Ass for 5 says, why are we letting Russian teach anything not related to drinking vodka or being poor? It's not a very nice.
I can answer that question. All right. I mean, your country and now is my country is becoming more communist. So you won the Cold War, my ass. Your success in Afghanistan was not much higher than ours. Same with Iraq. I don't believe you holding 20% of any country. We hold 20% of Ukraine. Should I drop the mic or should I continue?
Well, listen, our U.S. pullout game in the Middle East has never been good. Okay, I'll
Pullout
admit
game
that.
is never good to begin with.
Yeah, you got to conquer. Moonman for 5 says, I think it's cool that Brazilians might be self-selecting. Only the strong ones deserve to past tense a whole favela. Yeah, no, those cops are crazy down there. Did you guys see the police raid that they did on a favela where they killed like 200, 200 enemy, well, I say enemies, but like drug
insane,
dealers. Yeah, crazy work. Lightsport for 2 says, Sonny, when did your family grape you? You do not need to answer that question, Sonny. That is, Lightsport is going off. Moonman for 2 says, you heard it. He's not trained. I don't know what reference that is to. That is probably somebody's offhand comment. Amrite Boy for 2 says, ask him what he thinks about Chechens.
Tough people, man. Tough
Okay,
people.
fair enough. Respect. Hawkeye Penny, our resident Russia boo, says, what is your favorite AK and what gear do you have on?
Favorite AK? I mean, I don't know. The
AK
one that
is
I haven't.
AK.
If I have to use an AK, that's the one that I have in my hands at the moment. That's my favorite because I can use it.
There you go. See,
I mean, I had
Hawkeye is a gear queer about AKs. Okay, he runs a company that makes handguards and yeah.
No disrespect, man, for that guy. I hear it's a legit question. I'm not a gear queer. I have some nice things that Jim Fuller made for me and a few other people made, but to me, it's just a fucking tool. None of them are in the safe. They're all being used in training, and I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Well, Hawkeye should send you a handguard and have you put it on. He makes carbon fiber stuff. I don't know if you like carbon fiber stuff, but he makes stuff for the AK platform. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no, we can reach out if he has something interesting.
I have one on my AK right now.
So you might look at or whatnot, but if he makes something really interesting in the sense that it's functional, I'm more than willing to try it out.
We play with it. We're friends with Brian Keeney, who had Occam Defense. Mm-hmm. Makes really cool AKs. I think Rifle Dynamics actually uses their design handguard on a lot of their stuff now. So I like my Occam. It's got mud flap chick, multicam black. So
that makes it sexy.
Right.
Polly B for 10 says, my impression of students of violence before was flim flam. Over an hour in, to quote Sandor Clegane, you're a talker. Listening to talkers makes me thirsty. And downs a whole ass ale and hungry.
Cool.
Well, I mean, I did bring them on to talk. So, yes.
Are we
Thank you, Polly. I
supposed to,
appreciate that. You were supposed to
Are we supposed to
mime it,
sing?
actually. If you guys could do an interpretive dance, I think that would be really good as well.
Yeah. But you
there
can't
you go.
have, and you can't show firearms on a live stream.
No, I know. It's annoying. Vandalay for 2 says,
Hard to
Wings
meme it
sounds
out.
like Richard. Is this a face reveal? Oh, are you guys cutting out? Are you guys there? Seems like your quality dipped a little bit to
Yeah,
me.
We're here.
Okay, perfect. No, that's not Richard.
Yeah, everything looks good.
Huge Ass for 5 says, when did Wings of Redemption get into training? They're not letting that go. Fair enough. Thank you, Huge Ass.
Dude, what is this show? Is this a show? Like, how much time do people have to watch stuff called Wings of Redemption?
Well, I think he's a streamer actually, so he probably streams more than I do. Polly B for 10 says, imagine some Jerry Mitchell caliber cop saving your ass. Perp pulls first, competent cop beats him by a country mile with an entire mag to the torso. Wee-hoo, ha! Which is usually what Jerry
Yep.
says.
Get some.
Get some, that's
Nice.
right.
Nice $10.
Yeah, but I mean, cops training should be better. I think that's something everybody
Yeah.
agrees upon.
Agree. If every cop could shoot like Jerry Mikulek, I would be in favor of this.
Moonman for 5 says, imagine how funny it would be if every cop had to do that training, put every wife boxer in front of their peers while they train. Tax dollars well spent. Oh, I think he's referring to Sonny when he said that you had your wife shoot at you and then you shoot at your wife. Well, not
No,
at
I
them,
th-
but
And I think he's calling cops wife boxers. Like,
a wife beater? Maybe he meant wife beater?
well,
A wife
yeah,
boxer. Yeah, you're right. Wife boxer. That's what he means.
Okay.
Yeah, well, cops also have a reputation for attacking their spouses. Huge Ass for 2 says, once a commie, always a commie. That's not true. We believe that by the grace of God, people can be reformed. Come on. Thank you, Huge Ass. FocusTripp's wife, back in the chat, says, after hearing Sonny talk about his requirements to marry him, the basement isn't too bad. Oh, all right. I don't think she wants to get shot at. Polly B for 2 says, respect to students of violence for showing up and being respectful. Absolutely. Thank you, Polly. Amorite Boy says, press X to doubt. I don't remember what that's in reference to. Thank you, Amorite Boy. Dogwater Dale says, this guy definitely invented logic. No, that was
I'm
Ben
assuming it's
Sager.
about me. Yeah.
I have a clip for that.
I will not stop screaming until you admit I invented logic.
Thank you, Dogwater Dale. Moonman for 5 says, sorry, I was distracted. When did we start talking about fighting SWAT teams? Through the wall and through a leg and groin shots.
Huh?
Who talked about
I don't
that?
Well, we talked about Matt Pranka hopped up on speed or crank on a SWAT team. I think I made that reference at one point, but I don't know about the through a wall. TK's Tiny Peen says, these guys have no understanding of civil liability in a shooting gone bad.
Okay, $5 well spent.
I'm sure Tiny Peen has all the experience with shootings gone bad.
Some
like,
premature
you have-
shootings.
and you have to win the gunfight to worry about the legal fight.
Yeah, that's right. Judged by 12 rather than carried by 6.
Not
No,
even that.
not necessarily that. But at the end of the day, if you let those chains I was talking about, and let your civil liability like come into play in a moment of violence, you're fucked.
We're not saying you ignore it. We're not saying you don't pay attention to it in training. We're not saying you don't address it. But this should not be a hard stop for you not to get the job done.
Proper Tone for 2 says, these regards have well-worn bed-facing chairs.
All right, Copperton, $199. That's your price.
Yeah,
Coppertone again for 2 says 271 or 6 million, Sonny.
What the fuck is he talking about?
All right. Well, it's an inside joke, so I wouldn't worry about it. It's if you didn't get the reference, you don't get the reference. IG88 for 5 says these smooth brains don't know what civil liability is.
Okay, you're right.
I don't know what that reference. Again, we barely even talked about that. Chud for 2 says I would have said a slurp ATP. Read my message when you can. Which message? Where did you send it at, Chud? Thank you, Chud. Appreciate that. IG88 says Halo versus Whole Holes.
Is that maybe when I was talking about the circle only reticle?
No, he's talking about Halo jumps.
Oh, Halo jumps. Amrite Boy for 2 says Pranka mentioned make them debate him.
Make them. Why don't you make us do something? You know, and Pranka. What? Pranka is a god? He's another dude who shits brown, bleeds red, and drinks, all right? What's the big deal?
Definitely.
Because he was in CAG, he's God, he's untouchable, he doesn't make mistakes, he doesn't fuck up. Come on, dudes, grow up. Take your diapers off and fucking act like it.
Like, and these people have seen him on debates, right? Like, he's a much better shooter.
He's had some moments. I really appreciate. He did one against. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but he was critiquing one of the leaked Pranka videos of him doing clearing Op 4 on one of their training events or whatnot. And this guy was like really critiquing their stuff hard, and so he and Matt Pranka had it out. And I think the video title was something like Matt Pranka takes a boomer outside and shoots him behind the barn or something like that. It did not go well for the old man. IG88 for 2 says, call Sonny a Turk roach slur. He's not Turkish. I would never insult Sonny and call him Turkish. How dare you? Moonman for 5 says, let's talk about real training. Level the building the bad guy is in. Only way to be sure.
Agreed.
IG88 for 2 says, John won't ask about the guy Sonny shot. Well, that we've talked about that on stream before. There was an incident 12 years ago at this point.
13,
I don't know if you
13 years, 1 month, and 2 days. What else?
Well, I mean, I don't want to bring it up if that's a touchy subject. For
No,
you.
it's not a touchy subject. You know, it's touchy. It's what's touchy is when douchebags read couple of things from, you know, for example, from MSNBC and fucking Fox and BBC, and they're experts on the war in Ukraine. Dude, you want to find out what happened 13 years, 1 month, 2 days ago? Send me a message. I'll explain. I have nothing to hide. I fucked up. I made a mistake. It was costly, thank God, not fatal. I'm going to see the guy that I shot in January in Austin. Okay. What else does he need to know?
But I was going to ask you if you still had a relationship with the guy. So you do.
Yes.
It's good to hear. Good to hear. You know. Huge Ass for 5 says, John, I lost the remote for the stream. Be a dear and change the channel. Don't be lazy, Huge Ass. Get up. Change it yourself. Polly for 5 says, I haven't seen goalposts shift further or more frequently than a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Did that happen?
Well, so there were points in there where you guys were talking for probably like 5-10 minutes at a time, and there were like lots of different points being put out, and that was kind of in that back and forth section. Thank you, Polly. Moonman for 5 says, what is much more important than whatever we are talking about? We're almost out of every monster flavor. Trying the Pacific Punch. Pray for me. Well, I will pray for you, Moonman, but yeah,
Moon Man, get off the poison, man.
Nobody likes a quitter.
there you go. That's more like it. Lightsport for 2 finally not going after Josh says, number 1 rule of gun safety is to have fun.
I thought it was look cool.
Yeah, look cool is number 2. Moonman for 2 says, Randy, take the class. Randy, take the class. All right, fine. Get him in here. Thank you, Moonman. Axe Grind for 2 says, focus boys, take the class. Maybe learn something. That's an Axe Grind. Appreciate that, good sir. IG88 says, Sonny is the Slav boomer Steven Seagal. Do you get the Steven Seagal comparisons? Do people call you that?
No, actually, more times got mistaken for Jason Statham than Steven Seagal.
Yeah, I think that's a more apt comparison. Huge ass for five. Oh, I was gonna say it, but no, I'll keep that to myself. Never mind. Huge ass for 5 says, I ain't afraid of some vodka guzzling Tim Waltz. 1v1 me on Rust, bro. It's a video game reference. You guys play any video games? Too old for that? Not cool enough?
Not much. Back in college, I was a competitive Madden player, and I started playing Call of Duty just to get better stick skills for the Madden, but not since Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't play, and I don't even allow my 16-year-old son to play. So no.
Based. Moonman for 5 says, John, ask Sonny, peace be upon him, what his least favorite type of minority is. Tell him to be specific about ethnicity. Wow. I don't
Well, if you're gonna try to frame it with ethnicity, man, first of all, you're gonna have to go to Kiss the Wall and get $7,000.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. Thank you, Moonman. It says gatekeeping, more like hey keeping, gay keeping.
Okay.
Whatever.
Thank you, IG88. Hoosier Training Solutions for 5 says, I can feel Matt Pranka's blood pressure rising. It's not healthy for him, Hoosier. If you can physically feel it, it's not healthy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hoosier. Moonman for 5 says, I will pay good money to put Richard next to the target, John. Good money. Richard is my co-host, so they're saying he needs to be the guy standing next to the target.
I'm confident in your abilities to make that shot without harming him.
Yeah, this is actually a good idea. This will be great for the stream. Dogwater Dale for 5 says, effing Phil Collins, the effing mustard tiger in the middle.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
I've never heard somebody be called a mustard tiger.
You know what? For the next episode, you should have fucking In the Air Tonight just playing when we put Josh on, and you just do the Mike Tyson, Phil Collins thing. You know?
Well, yeah, I feel bad because you thought that this was going to be a discussion, but this was actually just a Josh roast session.
Hey, I don't mind.
Hoosier for 5 says, how would Sonny feel if he drank as much as Matt Blanca for breakfast?
I don't know, man. I still every now and then have a drink. If you asked me that question 10 years ago, I would tell you that Matt Pranka has no fucking chance to survive drinking contest with me, but it's no longer the case.
Fair enough. Blood-based for $20 says absolutely nothing, just drops it on the table and walks away.
Very
I appreciate
nice.
that. Thank you. Thank you, Blood-based. Didn't even call anyone a slur. Chud for 2 says, this something tough in Lithuania? Question mark.
I don't know what the fuck he means. I mean, I speak Lithuanian fluently. I have no problem, but what is he asking? I have no idea.
I have no idea either. It's over my head. Not over my head though. Logan sucks at shooting for $50.
Gay.
Says some of us just send money as a super chat because it's funny. Well, thank you, Logan. That is insanely based of you. Thank you. That's wow. Thank you. IG88 for 2 says, Sonny trauma dumping like a girl? No, he was asked a question and he talked about it. You're making fun of men for sharing their feelings, IG88. Tragic. That's why we don't open up to people like you. You just use it against us. You're like my therapist. Jeez. Chud for 2 says, Sonny is too funny to hate. Hashtag grape trench grenade. Whoa. Whoa. Thank you, Chud. Appreciate that. Subarctic Psycho for 5 says, I take it all back. I like Sonny, but disagree with his training methods. A stench grenade can suck it. There you go. So you're slowly winning people over. Thank you, Subarctic. Moonman for $50. I work for the FBI. I am a federal informant. Says, Logan sucks at shooting. Gay, to be honest. How is the HRT? Kissy emoji. Also, make Twench take the quass. Make Twench take the quass. Twench grenade, please.
Dude, he's so far above all the things we do, man. He's got a bronze merit badge from some kind of showing up at a competition in the Army. I don't know what we could offer.
That's trench grenade stolen valor right there. Don't you dare. Now, Hilter Lover Hilter Lover for 2 says, "Hello, I'm here now. Sorry for being late." Well, thank you, Mr. Hilter. Saddam Hussein for 2 says, "Are we sure Sonny isn't the lead character in GTA 4?"
What is GTA 4?
It's another video game.
Yeah.
So, did you do mocap for any other video games?
No.
Okay, just so. Colt 4564 for 2 says, "I challenged Sonny to a duel in Two Guns, New Mexico."
That's a terrible idea.
That's a inside joke. We had an old gentleman who he has some psychological issues. He was challenging somebody else to a real life duel in Two Guns, Mexico. So that's just a reference to that. So there are some crazy people out there.
Yeah.
I've done that in Camden, Tennessee. It's
Um,
weird they didn't show up.
Yeah, it's weird how that works out. Moonman for 2 says, "Whoa, we can pay Sonny to hit the other 2 guys? Say less." Uh-oh.
Show me the money.
Yeah.
Lightspore for 2 says, "Beat my mile time." I think we were talking about his physical fitness earlier in comparison to Josh's. Moonman for 5 says, "Lightspore is based. Shame he's Filipino. Not gonna make it. We will miss him dearly." Yeah, shame about that. Bloodbase for 5 says, "Let the feet, let the gun. My favorite Sonny Pizuki's quote."
Actually, it's not Sonny Puzika's quote. It's a quote from Jay, my friend, fellow instructor. And I quoted him in one of my videos, and I even put the name. So Blood-Based, don't attribute it to me. It's not me. It's me quoting someone.
An Axegrind for 5 says, "I want to take a class. Where does Sonny train? Where do you train at?"
SonnyPuzikas.com. Go to the website. I will be putting up a lot of new classes on because I kind of fell off the cliff a little bit with my book projects and other things. 90% of classes I teach is at my facility here in East Texas. I don't like to travel anymore. I like to sleep in my bed. I like to eat healthy food at home. And so 90% of training is done here in East Texas. We're about 2 hours east of Dallas.
Very good. Ton Dogs for 2 says, "Sonny, tell us more about Daylight's End."
Dude, that's the separate topic. That's like we can talk. There's a lot of stories to tell. One of the actors almost died. I mean, he wasn't shot. He used drugs. But there are stories, and there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. It's not something that I just answer and tell me more. It's a separate discussion.
Perfect. Appreciate that. John's wife for 5 says, "A little Cuban birdie told me there was a roast going on. Who brought the wieners and beer?" That's my other wife in the chat. Thank you.
Cool.
Appreciate that.
How many do you have, John?
That's not a bad backup.
And that's my backup option. All right, to be clear. In real life, I am married. I have one wife and 3 kids. So, John's wife for 2 again says, "Pookie panel participants, eggnog or cider?"
Ooh.
Cider.
Based.
Yeah.
Based. All right. Panel verified based cider chads. All right. Not the noggers in the chat. Ugh. Moonman for 5 says, "We are Christians. We don't believe in pulling out." Well, there's some truth to that. If America was a real Christian country, we would never have left and just past tensed everyone.
Well, if we were a really Christian country, we would have never went in to have to leave. So let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't think Halliburton stock was worth it.
Right.
John's wife for 5 says, "Let's give a round of applause to Suit Daddy," oh, that's me, "and have these fine gentlemen ever seen an AI Arby's ad? I am not going to force them to watch your disgusting
AI
ad."
Arby's ad?
There's these like AI dubs of Arby's ads, and they're just wildly inappropriate. So it's like a burger on screen while they're talking about doing sexual things to it. It's done in the style of an ad, but it's wildly inappropriate.
Got it. It's gonna hurt my feelings.
Yes. Moonman for 5 says, "I was talking about fighting a SWAT team. I thought that's what we were talking about. I am on the clock." It's true. Yeah. Moonman only super chats when he's at work at his Fed base somewhere. Thank you, Moonman. Polly B for 5 says, "SOV earned my respect by sticking around and talking haranguing like men." Yeah. Haranguing like men. Sonny gives as good as he takes. I see.
That's
XC,
that's
okay.
an that's an orthodox thing that he put there in the.
Oh, perfect.
Thanks,
Excellent.
Paulie.
Appreciate that, Paulie. Chips Dubbo for 10 says, good evening to all and my fellow Nog enjoyers. Yes, this is a heated debate in the chat. Most of the chat is on the side of cider, rightfully, but there are some Nog enjoyers out there.
Do you guys get into sandwich debates? Like,
We haven't yet, but you could start a new one if you wanted to.
like,
Oh
It-
shit, we had it here for 2
is-
days, and I punched numerous people already about that debate. So fuck that. No, we're not going there.
Wait, so which sandwich was the best?
There's some noise going on.
the
in that
crowd's
room.
going wild in the
crowd's
next
going
room.
wild. They're like,
So-
yeah, pizza
so
is a sandwich.
We'll
Fuck
keep it quick. We won't go
No,
get into
no.
the debate. Just one question: Is a
Fuck.
burrito a sandwich?
Well, if we're defining a sandwich as meat and alternatives wrapped inside of or like in between bread, then I think on a technical level, it probably meets the definition of a sandwich on a technical level. However,
Alright.
spiritually, I would not consider it. I would
Well,
not
you
consider it a
get you
sandwich.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
you said just
You-
a little bit.
You
It's
and
done.
your people
Time is
continue
over.
that. You and your people continue that.
Fuck, take over, John. Run
See
with the
where it can
sandwich
go.
shit. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Chips Double for 10 says it's definitely Romanians. Lols, don't worry, Sonny. We don't like them either. Oh, thank you, Chips. Chud for 2 says, John, I was referring to an email I sent you on Friday. Yeah, I know I'm behind on emails. I'm trying to do like 90 things this week before I leave to go home for Christmas. Thank you, Chud. Appreciate that. Lightsport for 2 says, Trenched touched me at basic training camp.
I believe that. That's
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
That is grape stolen valor there, Lightsport. Amorite Boy for 5 says, he said Russia is doing good in Ukraine, yet Ukraine is a fraction of the size with a fraction of troops, and Russia only has 20% of it. Years later, paper tiger.
I'm not gonna go into that. You fucking wrong and you gay.
Yeah, there you go. Wrong and gay. But I mean, also, Ukraine has how many millions, billions of dollars of outside funding keeping them alive?
Not
Right.
only that, at this point, Ukraine's military size is, I believe, a fourth largest military as far as the number of men. With about 150 or 170 billion of your taxpayer money sent there.
Yay.
And they have some well-trained people. There's less and less of them left, but yeah.
Thank you for that, Amorite Boy. Moonman for 10 says, Chips Double reminds me, do they drink nog or cider? Very important question. Well, they already answered it. Cider all around. Thank you, Moonman. Chips Double for 10 says, Chud is right. Hashtag grape a trench grenade. Whoa, whoa. you
All
guys-
right, we should come on, guys. We should lay off of trends, dude. I mean, I'm starting to feel bad for him. Just remember this: Christ is not forgive him.
for that.
He will change. He will change.
Amrite Boy for 2 says, Jake's dogs can touch me, which is a chat meme. Thank you for that. Lightsport for 2 says, Sonny, tell us more about Minecrafting Chechens.
Why don't you go visit? You'll find out. They'll Minecraft some new mines up your ass.
Moonman for 5 says, wow, cider facts. Sonny is based, but a cider enjoyer? Horrific. Yeah, it's some people's line in the sand is cider versus eggnog. Moonman again says, cider fags will be put in the kind of summer camp you will never leave. And no, a burrito isn't a sandwich, John. Shut up. It's not a sandwich, you lawyer. All right, fair enough. Thank you, Moonman. Huge Ass for 5 says, burritos are just Mexican hot dogs? No, that's a step too far. Burritos are not hot dogs.
It gets real when you start thinking if pizza's a sandwich or not. But
Stop.
another time.
Stop. Please.
Respect to Sonny for addressing my questions about accident. I know that would mess anyone up. I honestly didn't know your side. Thank you, IGD.
Thank you.
Moonman for 2 says Ukraine enjoyers are big gay, not a real country. All right. Thank you, Moonman. John's wife somehow still has access to my credit card and is sending super chats for 5 says an item of food consisting of 2 pieces of bread with meat, cheese, or other filling between them eaten as a light meal. Burrito is one tortilla. So she's pulling up the Webster's dictionary definition of
Well,
sandwiches.
here is the thing. All right, the first and only country, and the only country I saw the fucking sandwich considered 2 pieces of bread is America. We made sandwiches in Russia before America was fucking a country. Okay?
I think Subway sells sandwiches. How many pieces of bread are there on a Subway sandwich?
Well, it depends how they cut it. Or are you saying, but it all comes from one piece, but
Shut up!
my real wife used to be a Subway worker, so I mean she sliced some sandwiches before, all right?
Yeah.
Premium sandwich maker. Chips Double for 5 says, considering Russia is fighting the entirety of the West without a direct war with the US, I'd say they're doing pretty well. Yeah, I mean they're fighting the arms manufacturing of like 12 countries. Thank you, Chips. Moonman for 5 says pizza isn't a sandwich. How much to have Sonny punch him?
I mean, so let's put it this way: John gets 50, I get 50, and the target gets 100. So 200 altogether.
Oh shit! I was gonna say $50.
You are.
I'm generous to people that will get hurt. Okay.
You are underestimating what Moonman will do for money. Real fast over on Ko-Fi. There's a few over here. Fresh Pinochet says, "Good soup. No, seriously, this was fun. Here's some gas money for the trip to the class." Oh, thank you, Fresh Pinochet. I appreciate that. It was very kind of you. Over on Ko-Fi. Lightspore says, "Tell me about donuts, fat boy."
He probably gets like 50% of the super chat money. That's awful. YouTube rapes.
It can be pretty bad. Lightspore again says, "I genuinely want to." Wow, he's making threats against Josh, which I can't even repeat on YouTube. So
Come on, man.
Thank you, I guess.
Do it. I dare. Can it go on the screen?
Yeah.
You can't see it.
Lightspore, get on here. Subarctic Psycho says, "No matter how you cut it, the standing down range like that is the most retarded, unsafe stuff ever. And yes, Sonny, I've actually had a gun pointed at me before in real life."
Cool. You're right.
If you think that's retarded, wait till you see what we do next.
You haven't seen nothing yet. Here we go. Ruskies Face the Wall on Ko-Fi says, "The panel Timu John Level, Tactical Wings of Redemption, and White Somali John Malkovich. This group needs to turn their heads and look at the flowers."
Wait, what
Wow.
was the rundown? Read that back.
So Timu John Level, which I think is you, Tactical Wings of Redemption, and White Somali John Malkovich.
I'm John Malcolm. Shit, man. I made it in this life. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Damn.
Anyway, so Subarctic Psycho, last one, says, "Guns are inherently unsafe, so we'll make it even more unsafe by introducing a human no-shoot."
You're right.
Yeah.
That was
Sure.
response earlier. All right. Amorite Boy for 2 says, "How many SU-57s, though? How many hidden nuke accidents?"
As far as the nuke accidents, I can tell you quite a bit about it because when I was in the units, part of our training was actually preventing your bad boys coming in and sabotaging nuclear installations. So I know quite a bit about it, including your nuclear installations. So I even know maybe how to create an accident if you want to ask me how about it. SU-57s at this point, I believe they have about 70 flying. And numbers are going up. So what else?
Thank you, Amorite Boy. Well, I got to get to it right now. I can't believe that he did this, but Moonman dropped $200 and says, hit him for the pizza comment. Strike John Level down for the chat.
Right, so this is going to be live.
I can't believe he did that.
So hold on a second. Hold on. We need to make some adjustments. Come back on the screen for a second there, John.
Oh yeah, I got you. Sorry.
Like you're gonna PayPal 150 because I need to give Lewis 100. You know?
I'm gonna send you guys more than that for putting up with all this.
It's okay, man. So you ready, Lewis? Yeah. Put it on the big screen. Yeah, here it comes.
Okay, here we go.
Ready?
Oh.
Send the money.
There we go. Wow, Moon Man, you are an absolute mad lad for doing that. But maybe that's just going to be a new section on the show. Pay $200 to have the guests punch each other. Wow. Thank you. That was more. Are you all right, Liz? Feeling good? That $100 will make you feel better, though. Do not worry about that.
Yeah.
Hey, there are women that suck dick for $20, you know?
Yeah.
Louis just got touched once for 100. That's fucking good.
Not the first time I got punched today.
That's what's going to happen to Lightspore, except it's going to be for free when he goes down there. Sabark Notice number 2 says, do Russians go to Agartha?
Agartha, what is that?
It's how do I explain this? It's like pagan heaven, weird internet lore of like where Hitler went after World War II to like this underground place in Antarctica. You've seen
Argentina?
no, well, not Argentina. So you've seen the conspiracy theory that he fled to like Antarctica, and there's like a hidden passage underground where there's like there's a whole civilization down there. Basically, that's Agartha. Okay.
I have no idea. So.
Okay, so it's a joke. Todd Dogs for 2 says, for real, F Ukraine and all those juice. I don't know what he means by that. Thank you, Todd Dogs.
I love juice. I just want to make that clear as we're sending things through technology.
Yes. The wall needs more kisses. Okay. Matt for 2 says, pour one out for James Yeager. Real nibbas never die. Very true. Very true. Thank you for that, Matt. I appreciate that. Pauly B for 777 says, based. Subarctic Psycho laughs his butt off for 10 at that. Moonman for 2 says, I'm so happy your tax dollars at work, folks. Yes. Yeah. Moonman is our actual resident Fed. He does something in there. So he don't put it past him. You should have said 300, honestly. That was
if
insane,
I knew it
Moon
was
Man.
tax
Thank you very much.
dollars, I would have raised.
Who would have doubled it?
Yeah.
For more. Chips Double for 5 says, easily the most peak focus stream of the year. All right. And with that, guys, anything you want to say before anything else comes in so we can actually get out of here, ladies and gentlemen?
No, I think we're good, man. I appreciate you having us, man. It's you know, I was expecting a little bit more, how would I say, either shallow conversation or just fucking immature bullshit. You know what I mean? I appreciate you being actually, you know, having some kind of exchange, some kind of, yeah, we agree to disagree, and it's fine, man. If we all agree on everything, what the fuck we're doing in this world anyways?
Yeah, that's no fun. We got to have a little bit of disagreement.
Yeah, it's fucking boring. And yeah, so we appreciate having, you know, opportunity to kind of talk a little bit, because there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of shit that this is some kind of rage baiting, that we do this shit to get fucking views or whatnot. Dude, if I wanted to get views, I have hundreds of hours of videos that go way beyond what we show, way beyond. You know,
absolutely.
So I'm like, I don't need no fucking attention. These guys are not looking for attention. You know, we do what we do. If you want to find out more, find ways to find us. If you don't like what we do, it's fucking fine, dude. It is what it is. It's fine.
Well, gentlemen, I really, really appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you guys in the future. And with all that out of the way, gents, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. God bless.
I am the geek piping sandy cheeks, patty on the slab at the Krusty Krab flip, so the patty